7:01, on April 18th, 2024. I'm gonna call our special council meeting to order. Madam Secretary, you want to take roll?
Mark Campbell,
Here.
David Dryden,
Here.
David Kinsler,
Here.
John Crow,
Here.
J.T. Trevino,
Here.
Robert Simmons.
Here.
All right.
What?
So we do have a quorum. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, 1.4 is the mayor minutes, and I've had some questions about the St. Paul Post, and I just want to put it on record that the St. Paul Post has nothing to do with the city. It's not an official paper of the city, and it's a citizen's paper being put out there. So that's done. And then
Just for real quick to add to that, there's also the town newsletter.
But yeah, we have the official town newsletter that is put out by the town.
No, there is also one being circulated out there called the town newsletter.
Okay, well, I wasn't aware of that. That wasn't brought to my attention by the
No,
citizen.
I mean, that's our newsletter that goes out.
Only the post was. Second thing is, there was a write-up that said the judge appointment has, was partly because of the ICW permit situation. That would be inaccurate. The judge appointment has nothing to do with the ICW permit situation. And then the property value increases, our tax rates have nothing to do with the property value increases, so citizens were questioning stuff like that. And then also, the last topic I want to get on is raising taxes for the hiring of new staff members. We don't raise taxes to hire new staff members. And that was explained to the citizen.
Where's that coming from?
What's that?
Where's that coming from?
I had a citizen in my neighborhood. And that's all I have. So we will, move on to five.
Got to approve the minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to 2.1. It's, approval of the minutes from our April 18th meeting. What was that?
Oh, I put the 18th, I'm sorry, I'll correct that.
April, yeah.
Today's the 18th.
Sorry.
Good catch.
Posted that, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from Monday, April 8th, 2024.
You wanna put my motion with the correction?
Correct, with that correction.
I mean, looks like the actual minutes are correct.
Yeah, the minutes
It's
are
just-
correct.
It's just the minutes today are incorrect.
minutes here.
What I put on the
Yeah,
thing.
so we should be good with what was.
So then we don't need to correct the minutes,
Yeah.
approval of the
Yeah,
minutes.
so do you want me to correct or
Yeah.
be specific with that motion?
I mean, you already were specific.
You've already,
the eight.
yeah. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes. Now we'll go into our number 3, our regular agenda meeting. Discuss, consider action on the following items. 3.1 is discuss, consider act on initial discussion and planning for 24-25 fiscal year budget and tax rate.
Okay, so we need to started on this every year. We have to have the budget in place, and then the tax rate, we start working with the county on that in June, and it goes through pretty much November, by the time I get through with the last responsibility with that. So, the budget, every year, we do this and we put everything in a line item. We have a budget meeting, it's open to the public, and we go line by line on every item. So, also want to call attention to.
Can I question?
Sure.
Why is this, that's actually discuss, consider act on initial planning, discussing and planning for 24-25 fiscal year budget and tax? It's not on the previous council meeting. This council meeting was to have these?
It was, correct, but I do need to bring it up for the purpose of these other items, a lot of them while we're discussing them. It's a special meeting, I mean, we
So-
didn't limit it to just those, so
Okay.
I wanna make sure
I was just
we
trying to
understand.
clarify, yeah, I was making
It
sure.
wasn't
we-
on the last meeting, but it's added.
It's
to this
added
meeting,
now.
Which is okay.
And
Yeah,
I-
yeah, no, I get it.
And I just wanna make sure the importance on kind of trying to nail down on some of these decisions, so we can start looking at the budget and,
Okay, cool.
So, let me go back to, also, just so everyone knows, on our website, there is a tax rate and budget,
Would you correct Alderman Marks?
yes,
Is that correct?
I will.
Say that again.
The phone number for Mark is wrong.
Okay.
I think you did.
But there's a posting of the tax rate and budget information for transparency purposes that always goes on the website. It has, several years, it has the preceding 2 years, has the current year, it has the property taxes that were raised, it has the tax rates, all of which have gone down. The tax revenue has gone up, but that's because the property values have gone up. But for those people who question where that information is and why it's not available, it is available, it's on our website.
I mean,
So-
it's gone up because the property values have gone up and because new houses or,
Just in values.
improvements have been built.
Yeah, and values.
We're not raising.
Which is a big part of that increase, because I would argue that I bet if you took out the new builds, it probably didn't go up,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying,
you know?
yeah. But, if you look back, the tax rate, I had a different set of notes here, but it doesn't really matter, but the tax rate has gone down for the last 5 years, so. Okay, so,
But we are transparent with our budget. It's posted on the website, correct? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yep.
Just to make it clear.
Yep. Okay, so, with that in mind, we wanna start taking into consideration the things that are gonna go into the budget now. A lot of the things that I have here will, need to be discussed, so we know what we're gonna need to look at, or if we've got enough reserves to take care of some of those things.
But we're not gonna get into that tonight. We'll
No.
do that as a budget meeting.
That's correct. So that's the purpose of a lot of these items, and, I know there have been some questions about why we're rushing stuff through. Well, it's not rushing it through, it's getting ahead of
Let's
always
keep
coming at us. So that's all I have on budget. Do y'all have any contributions to the budget?
Not yet, not at this time, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe future meetings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
Well,
right.
definitely in future meetings. All right, 3.2 is discussed only with regard to road maintenance and drainage.
Okay, so there are the usual maintenance projects. And if you look at 3.2, there is, I read a list of roads and things that we were gonna be doing at the, I believe, the last council meeting, or council meeting before. So how these are gonna be laid out is we're gonna do the roads, the complete roads where, and the ones that are going to be done first, and these should be starting the first week of May. Coveview, Butcher's Block, Carolyn, North Rolling Meadows, South Rolling Meadows, Valley View Lane, McCree Road, St. Paul Road, and then there's general culvert clearing, where needed. I believe Lakeview has some issues down there where those need to be cleaned. The maintenance then, that will then be on the next fiscal year's budget, will then be for the specific roads: Drain Drive, Lakeview, Meadowlark, West Meadowlark, Cary Lane, West Shore, Harlan, and Frida.
So the blue ones have already been approved,
Yes,
and that's what we're gonna be doing, and then the orange ones will be included in our budget talks.
right,
Is this by recommendation by our engineers?
yes. We did drive all of these roads, so, yes.
When was this driven?
I'm sorry.
When were the roads driven?
I believe it was March. End of March.
Yeah.
Of this year?
Yes, yes, definitely this year. Yes.
So what is
Gotta
the,
ask you.
on Valley View Lane and McCree Road, no work to be done, but yet it still has, is that because, okay, so the column with crack seals cost is just to do crack and seals on all those?
Right.
So kind of misleading, but I got you, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the comment in that scope proposed should just be cracks and seals only, but I follow it now.
Okay.
So does this also include the driving that was done with Public Works and the county commissioner as far as?
No.
Okay, so
No.
that's a separate issue. Okay.
When was that, when did that happen?
They were here,
Okay.
it's been about 3 weeks ago, so we had a conversation with them, a long conversation with them. They were gonna take a look at a couple of things. I've got a long list out to him, but I can cover, I'll cover that in a separate one because there's a kind of an interesting
Yeah,
development with that.
We done with that one?
Is that because of Parker Road? Is that why they drove?
No,
The
no,
extension of Parker Road? So this is
No,
just
no.
on their own?
no, this is the county commissioner, this is not Tech Dot.
Yeah, yeah, this was a request from the city. And which was very interesting because they were extremely helpful, which.
She always has been. Yeah, that's why I asked, I don't know, I guess y'all asked her too, but I asked her to come out as well, so.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
who Cheryl?
Done with that one?
No, drainage on Lakeway. There's the drainage ditch that runs, between the two property owners there. That involves several entities, so they've already discussed already sent the plans of what they wanna do to Wylie. Wylie's engineering has looked at it and said, yeah, they were fine with what we're gonna do. But now they have to go to the HOA, which they've reached out, they haven't had a meeting with them yet. There's gonna have to be, a work construction agreement so that we can work in that one portion of their, that extends into there. It's a small portion so we have to have permission to work there.
Is Wylie assuming any costs?
Nope.
Do we have a projected cost?
It's gonna
It's
be,
not on there.
it's gonna be about 200 to 250,000.
This is on Sunday.
And if it's not,
This is on Sunday, property.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And Wylie is.
No, there's a, it's a easement that for the property owners, but we've done the work before.
Town's on easement to grade.
So it is,
No.
it is an HOA and the HOA, so the city won't do anything with the HOA doing anything?
They already did, the town did that 4 years ago, and there's an issue
Yeah,
there
they said
now.
no one time.
Like it's always private property, right?
So,
So,
Uh,
Mr.
Kareem has a question. The HOA?
Oh yeah, has the HOA been involved?
They've reached out to the HOA, they have not.
No, has the HOA been involved with absorbing some of the costs since it's on the
No,
HOA's property?
that's a Wylie HOA, and it's just a portion of the property that's there.
But the
But we have to get, we're gonna have to be on their property to do the work on our side, so you get a work, agreement so that you can step over on their property to do the work on ours. Is my understanding of the whole.
we're talking about for our residents.
Right.
But the problem is still going to come in that
Why?
it doesn't go anywhere. The water is still
So
gonna
we're
be
not
stopped
addressing
at
the culvert.
Wylie.
Do
We've
what?
got a dam there.
Right, so we're not addressing the culvert in the $200,000 to $250,000 fix. The $250,000, the $250,000 is just addressing
Outside of
Erosion,
the erosion and the drainage.
and it's still gonna stop in St. Paul.
So why would we do that?
That needs
So why-
to be pushed harder.
Right, so in the entire
Right there.
expansion of Parker Road, that water is being dumped already. So it's only gonna back up.
That water is gonna be dumped from all the development upstream regardless.
Right, so
And we,
what-
how do you control that?
This is,
Well-
this is an issue we discussed over a year ago.
I wasn't here over.
And that's why I'm trying, giving you a historical. City of Wylie was approached and they basically said,
Not our problem.
not our problem.
The engineer said that it's not their problem?
No,
They agreed there is a problem with the way they put it in, but then they said,
Their engineer or ours?
their engineer, I believe.
Now, before we start the project, right now, he's working on getting all the permissions in, yes. So, before they start the project, I think it would be a good idea for him to come here and discuss the whole project. Because not only that, the issue comes in with the, once they get that ditch in place, is how to prevent the erosion, so.
The after problems on Wylie's side, have we researched
Part of the
or
problem.
approached or done any homework on what legal actions we could do with Wylie?
Yeah.
Against Wylie or the
That's kind of where I was setting it up with. Mr. Dillard.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, let me step back real quick. I apologize, in my opening comments. I meant to, but I didn't. Our town attorney's here, Mr. Rob Dillard. Thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it, sir.
So,
I mean, first, if we talk to Wylie, you know, how many different types of discussions have we had? You know, if we had mayor to mayor discussions, have we had city
No, we've
to
had
city?
the engineers.
Just the
we have
engineers?
The engineers
Yeah,
discussing.
so we need to have some other discussions before we start getting
Putting
further
money
down
in.
the road, yeah.
Putting money.
Before we get, I don't know.
Or Mr. Dillard.
I'm saying any further down the road, before we make any other type of statements or whatnot.
Before we spend money.
I just don't.
More money.
Yeah, I don't think we need to get lawyers involved if it's just something that we need to talk to their council or to the mayor about.
But they've already told us that they're not, because they do need to.
Just an engineer, really, is what Leanne just said.
Yeah, there's not been anything with I mean,
Needs to be handled at a higher level, because, yeah, a number of years ago, we did have an engineer, Abiel, our engineer, did tell us what to do, and
the solution.
it did not get, yes, solution's the same, but it was not followed. What wound up happening was they went in and dumped a whole bunch of concrete. Chunks.
Who did that?
Who don't-
Last
City
time secretary.
Okay, so the city did it. Okay.
So we need to do the right thing on our side, and at the same time, we should partner with Wylie to get them to
Absolutely.
hopefully come along with this.
So Mr. Dillard, in the event that we receive opposition, which is currently, sounds like we're receiving opposition from the neighboring municipality, if we correct, or if we have a licensed engineer with the state of Texas, and he goes on record and gives a stamp of approval dictating that the issue is
Not sufficient.
in a different municipality, even though we correct our portion, or if there's a percentage of liability on our side and the rest of the liability is on their side, is this something that we can pursue for punitive damages or anything to that
No.
effect?
Not
So-
related to damages.
Okay, so then, is there anything that we, as a municipality, can pursue in recovering some of those funds from the neighboring municipality?
This is, I don't know anything about this, okay, that's the first I've heard.
Okay. So here from.
I don't know what your responsibility is for the drainage and all that.
Okay, so, and I agree, so it sounds like the town in a previous, capacity took on a project and they're trying to
Doesn't matter.
remediate.
Is that really the case now? I don't know.
Okay, so if we assume damage, if we corrected something.
Did something 4 years ago, I didn't know anything about it.
So if we did something 4 years ago, does that set any type of precedence that we're willing to?
Not if you did it wrong, no.
Okay. So how would we know that we did it wrong?
I don't know, it's an engineering question.
Okay, so if the engineer says that it was done wrong, then how does the liability get passed on to the?
Well, I guess
Property
potentially you
owner?
might have a cause of action against the engineer that designed it.
No,
But it's only those who are damaged by
Right,
it.
so is this
The town's
something-
not damaged by it, it's the people either downstream or upstream of it.
Town never should have touched it. They never should have touched what was going on over there.
Correct.
Okay, so
They went in and started moving stuff.
my next question would be, is what would your recommendations be? Could you provide us a recommendation based off of what you know now?
No,
Okay,
I don't know enough.
okay, what would you?
And if I
need to
did,
know?
it would be privileged and I'd prefer to do it that way.
Right, okay, so at that point, is this something that we can reconvene with?
At some point in time.
Yeah, but it's still, the first thing we need to do.
I don't know enough even to have a discussion with it about it.
Yeah, the first thing we need to do though is truly partner with Wylie, because I have a hard time believing that they're just stonewalling us. I think that maybe some engineers said no, but if time has passed, people have changed, and I have a hard time believing that their council and their mayor is just not gonna work with us on things like this.
I only know one of their councilmen. Do y'all know anybody?
I know the mayor,
several,
I know the
I know several council people and the mayor.
That's a better solution,
Yeah.
I
can't do anything about it.
I agree, I was trying to be full circle, so
Okay.
cover all my bases, at least from what I know. So no, I can make it.
I would say if you did something incorrectly,
That's when you step in.
then you could double down and do it correctly. If you shouldn't have been there in the first place, that means you shouldn't be there now.
I concur, but
But I don't know the answer to that.
okay. Can we schedule something? Are you opposed to scheduling something so we can get all the details, the necessary details?
No, when
that
you have
need?
more time, we'll have an executive session and we can talk about it, when I know more about it.
Okay.
Okay, so it requires an executive session. Okay, so
Okay.
Leanne, I would like to have an executive session based on this topic and this topic alone.
And we're tying that under 3.2, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to I meant no disrespect to that counsel, legal counsel. Didn't mean to make you feel like, or appear that I was opposing you.
No offense taken.
Merely trying to capitalize on the fact you're here,
You're here.
you're present.
For this.
This one, no. We're here.
No.
Anything else on that, council, town council?
Yes, I'm not sure if we're in 3.2 or 3.3.
We're on 3.3 right now.
Okay, 3.3, is that what we're looking at here on St. Paul
No,
Road?
not yet. That'll
Not
be
yet.
3.2.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so,
Hold on. Are you on 3.3?
go ahead.
Okay. Anything else on 3.3,
3.2.
town council?
3.2.
Okay,
Now we need to go to 3.
okay. 3.3 is discussed only with regard to road projects and maintenance options.
So we have, road projects I've been talking to a lot of people, about how to get our road projects done. We've got several options. One of the things that came up was, a visit with Collin County. They did come and visit with us, and, we have an ILA with them where they can do work for us, but when we get down specific roads, we have to have a specific ILA for that road. It always will depend on, when they can get it in their order. I think you actually have to have it into them by like May, or by a certain time. I wanna say it's like April 1st every year. But I have a lot, but we didn't meet until just right before April 1st, and there wasn't time to get everything together. But I've got a long list of things out to the Public Works Director after the meeting. The one thing we did discover is that the town can piggyback off of contracts if we are part of their cooperative group. We are not. They sent me, I have gotten with them, they've sent me a contract. That's gonna be one of our agenda items. I've discussed it with Rob, that if you go with contractors on that list, then, and they have checked off to accept these, road projects that we might wanna do, and if their contract is still valid, you can piggyback off those contracts, which allows us to avoid the bidding process in some cases.
Well, it's considerably better prices too sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
so, we'll be signing up, that'll help us, get back on the piggyback program.
Yeah, we used that, by the way, for St. Paul Road and for Drain Drive a few years back.
So, my understanding is, we were not signed up for that.
Well, it was a different rendition of what you're describing. It's not,
But-
wasn't exactly the same.
Yeah, so anyway.
But we,
we're-
so I should rephrase, we used something very similar to that when
Okay.
we redid St. Paul Road and we redid Drain Drive. This was probably 8 years ago or more.
Okay, so anyway, we'll be current with this, and we can, try to use that. Now, the county, when we're using their road crews or whatever, they use 2 different road crews. They use Rose, they use WOPAC. So my understanding is WOPAC being, county contractor, they have to do their things first. So that, where that leaves us in the long line of things is kind of a mystery, but, we're gonna find out how that works. The third option then is to go out to bid. There are certain, if a project's over $8,000, you have to get engineering. If it's over 50,000, then you have to go out to bid. I'm gonna suggest that any projects that we do, yes, we use engineering. We use them all the way through the end. I've had people suggest to us, why don't we just have citizens go watch it or whatever. I've already done a
What
couple.
people?
Huh?
The council?
No,
Oh,
no, I've just had, I'm not gonna dial down on specifics, but,
okay. I don't want you
but those things did not work. One of the reasons is because if that person is not available, or they volunteered to do some part of the project and now they're not around.
Okay,
They're not
let's
engineered.
discuss with the road projects and maintenance, that's not to go into
Well, I'm
the
trying.
small details of who and
Okay,
why.
well, I'm trying to get down to, there's a reason for what I'm saying, and that's for having a policy that we follow for roads and be consistent with using an engineer, having a process that we use, and like having the engineering company that we depend on follow the project all the way to the end, monitoring the materials that are going into the road, because you get into change orders and things like that, then you've got a trail, a proper trail of what's happening, and then there's a record with them if there's ever an issue, so.
And the county will use our engineer. They will
That-
allow us to use our engineer
that's my
on
understanding.
site to verify things. Cool.
That's my understanding.
Cool.
So there's several new options. Yes,
Use the same specifications, you can't piggyback on different specifications.
specification, right, yeah,
You can't piggyback on asphalt road.
concrete road, right, right, yeah,
It's the exact specs, otherwise it's not the same deal.
right. It's just like the material changes, like what I'm talking about is like if you get a road and they wanna use, I can't remember what they use, and there's a term they use instead of line.
Chip seal
Eh,
or oil.
I can't remember the term, I am not a road person, so.
It's okay, we don't have to. have
But
that.
you know what I'm saying, but if there's a substitution there that's still acceptable, when they get into it and you do a change order, it actually follows a proper process.
As long as our engineer approves of
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
and and our engineer would be there supervising those products, so that.
it. And the county agreed for our supervisor to be, our
Our engineer.
engineer to be the supervisor of their work. Their
No.
contractor.
No.
That's what we will have to confirm with them, I have questions out to them to see
Not-
how that works, so that we know exactly what we're getting into when we get into.
Our engineer will
Okay, so
not
there's
be
a,
the
still a lot
supervisor
of
of that job.
background that needs to be
Right.
done here.
Our engineer will not be the supervisor of that job. The county, whoever they're running with, they will continue to run as a supervisor, superintendent and all, but they are going to work with what our engineer is saying. Our engineer is gonna have a lot of say in it, so they're not going to change a spec or anything on us. They're gonna work, they're gonna do the job as we spec it. They're gonna quote us as we spec it.
Perfect. Okay.
So it sounds like the upside is that we could get better pricing on the work. The downside is, potentially it wouldn't be done as quickly. However, we use WOPAC too. So I don't know how we prioritize against the county if we pay them directly instead of going through the county. But that sounds like that's, as far as for this board, that's the decision making is, how can we get things done quicker? Cause it's not just about being cheap, we also things need done,
Well,
Correct.
Well,
And I'll tell you, the drain drive took several years to get done once we got on their list. For some
and it needs
reason,
to be done again.
for some reason, St. Paul Road went pretty quick, and once we got on the list, it was one of the first ones they did. But Drain Drive, it took, I think it was 3 years for them to finally get to it.
What was that?
At least, if I
They
remember.
completely retop.
Well, it could have to do with the cost on it, because one of the things that we'd also talked about was the fact that if we can have them do the work and we're actually paying WOPAC or Rose directly to do the work, we're not paying the county.
that's the piggyback.
Right, there is a route that we can go where we do pay the county and we can actually even have it on a low interest loan payment plan, and that might be an issue why it got pushed back, I don't know.
We didn't do that, we paid them directly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, yeah, there's a lot of upside and a lot of good stuff to move forward with in the future.
Mhm.
So what we were talking about long-term, so after driving the roads with the engineer, I said, what is the life expectancy of the roads? I said, our roads are in good shape.
About 5 years.
No, he said 10.
10.
5
So,
years. They told
well,
us 10
that's-
years when we did St. Paul Road.
Well, I know, but
And it's 5 years.
he just said, and I'm not talking about St. Paul Road, I'm talking about the other roads. I've got St. Paul here as a,
What is
as
it?
a
Man
specific.
with experience isn't at the mercy of a man with a theory.
So,
I get it, I hear you, and I know that's what they told me when I was 10 years ago, it's 5 years. And then they have to get all chopped up and fixed and bubble gummed and all that kind of stuff.
so they're telling me 10 years is the life expectancy of the road. So
Yeah.
what I'm thinking, the way my wheels are turning is, we can at least prioritize them and maybe go ahead and get on those
Yeah.
lists.
No, that's
Set
cool.
the money.
Sure.
Set the money,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we can know what the money is
Yeah.
right now, and in 2 years,
Mhm.
we've all seen how much costs
And if we can take
materials.
advantage of the loan system, that's fine too, because there's some things we need to get done. It's a balance though to me, because if we're going through the county and then we get into the county's priority list, then that may be different than if we go directly to WOPAC, pay a little bit more, but we get higher in a priority because we're paying more potentially. And so there's a balance there, because.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm
I
thinking
just
if we
wonder
get-
why, but, I'm sorry.
No, if we get on I'm saying if we can get them on the list, and we tell them, we want these,
Yeah.
and they know that They just they've gotta work them in the next 10 years.
Right.
And with we're gonna have to do maintenance on them anyway, and with the maintenance, they're saying the last
Right.
10 years, then the money that we have, and the money that we have coming in from taxes, if there's, you know, this was one of the things I talked about with CPA and the auditor and that sort of thing. There are accounting options. I mean, it makes it more difficult, but there are ways,
Yeah.
you can set that money
Let's
aside and then.
Dial down, we've got a lot to go tonight. But I have one question is, why did we never require or have engineering before on our roads?
Well, you've got some engineering that was heavily influenced, well, okay, road priorities, from what I understand, were heavily influenced, by a particular person, and so they will do what you ask them to do. Now, whether or not the engineering was particularly followed is a question, because I know
Well,
in
engineering
talking
wasn't
to
followed
the
before.
engineers, that they would go and ride the town, they would talk about what needed to be done, they would come back out and then it would be done. So
Yeah,
we want,
Abiel told us that.
Yeah, but we
he would
wanna
come out and
avoid that in
He
the
would do
future.
engineering for the roads, turn in his recommendations to the town, and then it wouldn't be done.
Correct.
It would be done by somebody else, and it
So-
wouldn't be done to his recommendations.
so this is just
But why was that done?
we don't know now, and but moving.
So that wasn't done when you were,
No,
oh,
No.
I thought,
no,
okay.
so
okay.
what
That was before
but that's
you.
what I'm saying, there needs to be a process, you know, if there's we need to put a policy in place, so that going forward, everybody's on board, especially with council, so they know this is how our road projects should progress, and that way we don't get these problems.
Yeah, not very,
Um,
spending money wisely there before.
So-
You pay for an engineer, then you don't go by his recommendations, and then you go with a cheaper contractor, and here we are stuck now, having to do the work again.
And it's actually using one of the same contractors, but
But
not doing
the
it.
contractor, but you have to understand, it's not the contractor only does what the contractor's told to
So
do.
why would the contractor know what would be the minimum requirements for the county or the city?
But again,
Again,
if they've been told there's minimum requirements, but again, the contractor does what the contractor's hired to do.
I mean, I
and
understand that.
supervised to
I
do.
mean, okay.
But,
Okay. Can
but
we-
going forward, I hope everybody understands there's something that can be done, and
Absolutely.
if you follow the engineering, you follow the process, you go with what you know and you stick to it, then you know if your product doesn't come out correctly, then you know how to backtrack, because if they're a
What's
certain
doing nothing
amount.
for us now, so backtracking does nothing for us.
No, not backtrack,
Correct.
not backtrack for this, I'm talking about for future projects, if you have to backtrack into getting something fixed, or why, now you've got bonds and all the things that are in proper order to get it taken care of. It costs a little more, but you've got a 2-year bond for fixing things or whatever, so. I'm not a road guru, I'm just.
Right, that's what the engineer's for.
Exactly, use him.
Unfortunately, the person was in your position last, made all the choices himself.
Okay,
And-
let's.
But I-
Let's move on.
Okay, I see it much deeper than y'all, so y'all go ahead.
No, I mean, it is, but it's not part of
Tonight.
I'll,
3, 4,
Okay.
or 5,
So-
6, 4, I don't even know anymore.
We're.
I was with the
we're on
Public
3-4
Works
still.
Director, I was with the Public Works Director and was told point blank, he made recommendations and was told, we're not gonna do that. We're saving money.
Okay. We good with that? Let's move on to 3.
Are we
4.
moving to 3-4?
3-4, so.
Discuss, consider act on pursuing specific major. JT?
No, please, my apologies.
3-4, again, discuss, consider act on pursuing specific major repair rehab projects for FY 24-25.
Okay, so here is, let me get my notes. Actually, I don't need them back, but,
So I got a question here with the speed limit sign for the westbound and,
Yeah,
eastbound signs, is that?
That's not,
Is that
that's,
new?
no, that's just a picture of St. Paul Road and what, that's just. a
Landmark.
Depiction.
It's a landmark for you.
Okay.
Put this. Too many sets of notes.
I was reading that as, that was part of the project and put it in there.
Did I do that? All right, I can do this off the top of my head, but, so St. Paul Road, to me, that needs to be done, that needs to be.
What does the
a problem.
engineer say?
He said, yeah, you can do that road's pretty big.
Do we have officiating documentation from the engineer for a priority list? Cause I think
We
we
do
asked for
not.
that for months ago.
Well, so, here is what I'm going to suggest on St. Paul Road is where the concrete leaves off that Inspiration paid for. There's two things that you could do. There's concrete, which is about, I think he estimated a half mile's $800,000. I don't know exactly where the half mile comes from. I know there's like 1,800 linear feet here, I think, and I think that comes up to, maybe a little over a third of a mile. So again, it's all estimation. But the county did come in with an estimate of what it would cost to asphalt that road. And that is to, they gave us 4 different estimates that range from like 160 to 200 and I think it was 237,000.
And that's all gonna come out of our budget?
Yes.
And that wouldn't come from the county or county
No,
assisted
it's not-
or
it's not
nothing,
shared, no.
even though it's county, it's clearly states right there, Collin County Maintenance Beginning.
No,
I think
Collin
it's
County,
ends.
Ends,
Might be.
that last leg
Ends.
down St. Paul
Oh.
Road to the lake is ours.
okay.
So,
Okay.
you
Cause we own
can,
both sides of the road. Or own, it's on our city limits on both sides of the road.
so you can look at that project as like, so the 237,000 from what they estimated would be digging out the road,
Potholes.
completely digging out the road and redoing it. That's
Wavy.
what you should do.
Okay, so this is something we're gonna
I
talk
wanna-
about in our budget meetings?
No, this is something I wanna know, if you want me to go ahead and pursue this now and get information and start trying to run with it for the purposes of
So-
putting it on the budget.
If the engineer drove the town, is this something that was like priority one? Is that why it's being presented to us on an
Yes.
individual?
Yes,
Yes.
he actually prepared this for our visit with
Right.
the county.
It's one of the highest traffic roads outside of Parker Road.
Because of going to.
Because it goes, yeah, all the people coming and going from the lake.
Especially now going into spring and summer.
Well, so my only question is that he prioritized this road over Drain Drive?
And I
Knowing that Drain Drive is about to be, is,
about to be maybe a cut through when Parker starts,
Well, yeah,
It
I don't know
wouldn't make
I don't know if we wanna fix it before that
Yeah,
happens.
because it wouldn't make any sense to fix Spring Drive now, it's gonna be the cut.
Yeah.
I get it, but, you know,
But then again, I'm also gonna say, do we really wanna do St. Paul Road now
No.
going into the summer?
I mean, this isn't
no,
now,
no,
this
no,
is
it's
twenty,
not
this
gonna
is
be,
next year.
this is not gonna be this summer, it won't be this summer at all.
so then let's
So
just get all the
let me-
information that he
Let
said.
me finish this one. So the choice is, the county's not gonna do concrete. So you've got asphalt that's gonna last you 10 years, so they can take.
5 years.
take that.
Yeah, I mean, so.
So if they dig
I had
this
to say.
up and redo it all in asphalt, I mean, like I said, we have 4 choices
Mhm.
that you get a minimal result, you know, for the, so I would say the other 3 choices, don't even go there,
I mean,
it's probably
technically,
waste your time.
technically it is 10 years, but it does get pretty chopped up at the last like 5 years.
The loads,
If you go out there now,
trailers
there's so
and
many
trucks.
And that's where
patches.
I'm fixing to go, so if they do, if the county does it, that would be, what do you call it, a full depth reclamation,
Yeah,
where they
reclamation.
dig it all up,
Right.
so.
So how
So
about we
200
just do this? Why don't you, if you,
Let me,
Oh, okay, sorry.
let me finish. So, then your second option is to go ahead and do concrete. Concrete's gonna cost more. It's
800K for
about
half a mile.
800,000. You're gonna get 20 to 30 years out of it.
Right.
You're not gonna have to do the maintenance.
Right.
Whereas if you do the asphalt, you're still gonna have the chip,
Yeah.
you know, the sides chipping off, you're gonna have cracks.
Here's a crazy idea, why not do concrete throughout the entire town? And,
Well,
you know,
that's their
why don't we,
job.
why don't we have a plan to figure out how to fund that through either bonds or whatever we gotta do, so that we have good roads throughout the town, and we don't have so much of this chip and seal and holes and all that kind of stuff.
And that's-
I'm not
That's a
saying
great
it's the
idea.
end all fix, but there's certain portions of the town that are already concrete, so why not have equity across the entire town?
I like that. I think that's a great point.
Why,
How
why
much
do
was
we,
it a foot?
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
Well, you're looking at there, a half mile's 800,000.
I mean, it'd have to probably, more than likely, it'd have to be
That's
a,
And it's
not-
gonna
This is gonna be a
increase.
And
10,
that's-
15, 20-year.
more than likely, it's gonna be a long-term deal, and it's
Yes.
gonna be, probably have to have a bond to help support it.
So why don't we just have the engineer give us the documents that we already asked from the engineer to give us the prioritized list?
Yeah, does he have that list?
And it'll all be in there, so when it comes to moving forward, or I don't think we need to have an agenda item to, do we want more information? If he's saying.
Well, I think the
Well,
agenda
right now-
item is to
Right
have
now, I'm
Leanne
trying
pursue
to,
it.
guys, right now,
Let's
what
just
I'm
have
trying
the
to do
engineer,
is.
if the engineer says it's valid, it has validity, give me the information.
I agree.
So,
Anybody else?
so the conversation that we had with everyone on it is realistically, we're looking at $300,000 to go through, tear it all up, reclaim it,
Right.
300,000, it's gonna be good 5 to 10 years.
For us.
Our other, for this one project,
Right,
yeah,
And that's asphalt.
that's us.
correct.
Mhm.
Or
162,
are we interested in 800,000 concrete, it's 20, 25 years, and that's really kind of the decision that we need to be making is, do we wanna go forward in the future? I mean, it's to the lake, so I would absolutely think that
I
we
think
need to be
so.
looking towards the concrete.
And then the same thing for Drain Drive, same thing for Cary Lane, all these different places.
What's the
yeah.
book called that he presented to you that was, or to the council 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was a road
And I,
priorities.
and I have
Right.
that, and
So
he
we have the
has,
current one?
I have,
Yes.
no.
No.
Okay,
No,
well,
we
yeah,
don't
but he
have
was
it.
supposed to provide that already, so where is it at?
No, he wasn't supposed to provide
You
that.
want him-
We have one,
He was.
we have one that,
The last time he was
It
here.
was 2020,
Andy Bono had asked for it, and they did provide it for us.
and I've got
But years
the,
ago,
Yeah.
not recently.
No.
Yeah.
I have I asked him to send me a link, which he has done, and I will be forwarding that to everybody. That is a copy of that 2020 book.
Right.
But
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
And, well, against what we've done though too, right? So there's a lot of that 2020 book that we finished, we did.
Yeah. But I do remember the last time Abiel was
If
here,
the engineering was
JT
wrong.
did ask him to get that list. I do remember that. So,
There's a lot of things that I
that's
asked
just
for
the
that
follow-up
never
we
get
need to do
followed through
with
with.
Abiel to get the list.
So, one other piece of information on that piece of roadway is we do own property on both sides. That is town property, meaning those lots have to be 1.5 acres to build on. They're all are 1.5, correct?
Correct.
So, we're not gonna have someone like Inspiration come in and pour a bunch of concrete here if anyone's gonna have to put 1.5 out there. So that's just something to consider for,
Well, they didn't have to do that anyway. They
No,
that's true.
didn't. Yeah,
Inspiration?
yeah,
They
they,
had
they ought, they
It's
ought
an
to.
agreement.
Well, and that agreement for that one expansion, it's not for all future.
Correct.
Right, so, I guess I'm just pointing out the fact that if there's any intention or any inclination that they're gonna come out there with bulldozers and start tearing a bunch of stuff up, we don't wanna be footing the bill for the concrete.
Right.
We
Well, I
make
guess that's
that-
why I'm looking
Well,
broader
the weight
than,
limit, you can put a weight limit on
yeah,
the,
I guess I'm looking at broader than just St. Paul Road, and it's been something that's on my mind really for a long, long time. And maybe, I know the price of concrete is high now, and perhaps we should have done it years ago, but, you know, it's not gonna get any cheaper.
Hindsight.
Well, it's not gonna get any cheaper, you know,
No.
things continue to go up, and it is a way for us to stave off some of these maintenance things and to make the town look nicer and to not have the roads that are so undulating, hopefully, if we can get the right engineering and contractors to support it. So that's just a thought, and it is a long-term thing, it's not something we would try to budget in 1 year, it's not something we would, you know, float a bond that would increase taxes either, we need to make sure that we can incorporate it into our budget. But if we're gonna talk, you know, long-term plans, it's something I think we should at least entertain, especially with Abio's experience, you know, and with whoever we're gonna get to help us with doing this kind of work.
I agree.
Do we need to do anything to move forward on that as a concrete road?
No, we just,
Oh,
I mean, it sounds like we need to budget.
Leanne just wants
Yeah.
to know if she can move forward.
Yeah.
with looking
I mean,
into it.
I mean,
So
we
I
need,
think
we
were
want
gonna
a
agree,
project,
yes.
we
Right.
want a project on the books for.
So
I'd like to see all the projects that we need
I
to have
understand.
done.
Yes. we
Because
do-
I've asked for this last year, there's several things that I've asked for last year that just continue to fall to the wayside. I don't wanna bring all of them up, cause this is not the time and the place to do it, but I have found a date when I'll be able to see it, and I know for a fact that I asked for this. So,
I'll back you on that.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
she's
so-
gonna get you the link to it, sounds like, so the link's coming.
yeah, well, all this could have been in the link, and then we could have said, yes, we need to do
What's
this,
the
and
specific repair and rehab project for FY 24-25 that you have in mind, Leanne?
I'm asking about St. Paul Road, do we want to do it?
Okay,
Do
I
we
make a
wanna-
motion that we do accept Leanne's recommendation for 3.4.
It's not my recommendation, I'm just saying, this seems to be an obvious choice, county came to us with
Yeah.
the choice. We were looking at it for concrete anyway, but we had a choice now, do you want
This one
to
doesn't
Yeah.
have
do
that.
it?
I make a motion, we do the due diligence to see what's needed to move forward with this.
Second?
Well,
Second,
Yeah, I think you made the motion the same way.
whatever.
Robert, what are you thinking? Are you thinking
Sorry,
of
I
a
didn't-
5-year plan? Or
Well,
a 10-year, what are you thinking?
I'm okay with moving, cause this one's if you've driven the town, this one's
Yeah,
an
I
obvious.
get it.
This is an obvious
I'm thinking
one.
of your idea, and it sounds nice.
So I'm cool with moving forward with
Yeah.
being able to plan for this, it sounds like we're talking concrete. Is that what you meant, Mark? Was concrete? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, and so I think this is kind of almost a no-brainer, but then on top of that, working with audio and whoever we need to bring in to figure out how do we, over a 5-year or 10-year period, however long we need to make that window, do concrete throughout the entire town, so that we have less to have to maintain from the bubblegum patches that you have to do for asphalt as it expands and contracts. I mean, it's not that you're not gonna have any maintenance on concrete. So that's, I guess, where I'm getting. If we're talking long-term, that would be something we should entertain. But I'm fine with moving forward with the motion for this one. This one, to me, I agree with, if audio were to give us priority, which it sounds like he did,
Mhm.
this would be the higher priority one to do right now.
Okay.
So I'll
I mean,
second it.
a priority two being something that, within a realistic amount that we
Yeah,
can afford
you
to
can
do
afford.
without draining.
So I'd love to second this if we're gonna move forward to look
So
at.
Mark
this.
has
Mark,
made
second,
the motion.
Yeah, for concrete, second, yes, for this to be in 24-25, yes.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
so back to the list of stuff that you want or whatever. I know there's a lot of things that everybody wants, and here's the deal, guys, for the last 2 years, and a year when some of you weren't on council and weren't here, I have been throwing things up in the air. I can't work on one little thing at a time. It doesn't work that way. Nothing gets done. So I have
Okay,
thrown
let's stick
let me
to- No,
finish,
we
please.
gotta
We've
stick.
thrown it up in the air, it's all
No,
handed
we
out,
have to
and
No,
I,
we need to stick to the agenda.
well, we brought it up that there's things you didn't get, so I'm telling you why.
This is not the time and the place.
Let's take it
Okay, then
offline.
don't bring it up.
3.5 is discuss, consider act with regard to additional plans for signs and traffic control previously discussed.
Alright, so I've been working with a contractor who has looked at our signs. We brought up, I believe, I wanna say it was in the November meeting, there was traffic controls that Vista Oaks would like to have stop bars, maybe some additional stop signs because of the way the traffic flows through there. I asked
Yes.
I've asked this contractor, and again, guys, it is hard to get contractors who will talk to us because we're small and our jobs are small, so, I do have somebody has come out and spent the time to drive and look. What he has, and like I said, he's getting me the information. He was actually gonna try to be here tonight, but could not because of the job that he was on. Our traffic signs were.
Is this Striping USA that you're speaking of?
It is,
Okay.
it is actually.
What was that question?
Tracking USA.
Striping.
I was asking, is this Striping USA, so is the person it's the company who we previously used for
Yes.
Levon and Lakeway?
So,
So
the,
yeah, no, we made the motion to approve that, all that striping to be already done. Yeah.
so, we did signs about 4 years ago, I believe, there was, all the signs were readdressed in the town. However,
Yeah, and those were done wrong also.
well, so, we got new blades for most of the things, but the hardware that the blades were put up with, are incorrect, and so they randomly fall off or whatever.
So that's.
so I asked him-
Never hired out, you know.
So I asked him to do an assessment of,
Themselves.
I asked him if he would assess all the signs, because we really need to go to, some type of maintenance agreement. We don't have a public works department, so when we have one sign fall off or somebody runs over a sign, we don't have somebody just to come out and take care of that one sign. We need to put in place a maintenance agreement, an on-call agreement or something with someone. And what's gonna be really hard, I feel like with that, is because of all the different hardware, all of the different poles, all of the things we have are inconsistent. So we can't just keep a supply here in the shed of the things that are, you know, when you have one go down, you got all these random parts.
Okay, so
So-
you're asking for approval to look into a contract for
No,
sign replacement,
no, that's just part of it.
okay?
The contractor has come out, I asked him to do an assessment of all of the town, he's gonna get us,
So it hasn't been done yet?
yes, he's gonna get us,
The assessment's been done.
so we spent about 2 hours on 2 different days talking about all the things, I'm just condensing it for you. We have, I don't know how many different types of poles,
Yeah.
there's, the breakaway hardware is not sufficient. The way that they're put in the ground is either crooked, so you can't straighten them, it's either crooked on the concrete's in the ground crooked, you can't
Okay,
straighten them.
so we have signs all over that are different, that
Right.
need to be taken care of.
And we have inconsistent stop sign sizes.
Does he, is there a formal is there a formal
He's getting it.
document? Okay, so he hasn't done it
He's
yet.
getting it for us.
Okay,
Um,
so we're gonna have to revisit this again?
yes,
Can we
so
can we review this later?
we can, I just wanna let you know, if this will be, you know, I guess,
I really don't wanna revisit something 3 or 4 times, if we already approved it last year.
well, you did, but we didn't approve costs, and
Well,
that's,
well, the approval-
and before we're talking about stop bars and,
Yeah, but we're not
This
gonna
is-
approve cost tonight either.
and what I'm trying to do here is decide, do we wanna try to go somewhere and do something consistent, I guess, so that we
Yes,
can
yes,
get a
yes.
maintenance agreement in place
Yes.
and maybe redo everything so that everything is consistent. Does
Yes.
that
Yes.
sound like something that you wanna do?
Yes, I think everybody agrees, yes, on that.
Yeah.
But I do wanna bring up traffic control, the speed bumps or humps, whatever you wanna call them. The fire department's not gonna allow us to do that.
They've already told us they
No,
can't do
no,
that. They-
when I say stop bars, I'm talking about the painted white
Okay.
things at the
Okay.
stop sign.
Let me interject. Every sign, every stripe, every stop bar, everything is controlled by the Uniform Manual Traffic Control Devices.
Right.
It's done by the state of Texas. You can't just go out and say, make me a stop sign and put it here. It's gotta be 8-sided, red on, white letters on red, you know what a stop sign looks like. And every sign is in that book that you could possibly want. Number 2, you can't just say, well, the people who live on such and such street want a stop sign here. You have to have a traffic or engineering study of that intersection to warrant putting a stop sign there. They're called warrants. And that just means that the traffic or the accident history or the visibility or the grade or something warrants a stop sign at that location. If it doesn't, you can't put it there legally. Perfect. Okay? So don't start saying, well, I think we'll
So
have
to
a stop
clarify, I
sign
don't
there,
think-
we'll have a stop sign there. You don't do it that way. You
I don't
ask
think
the
anybody's asking
engineer.
for an additional stop sign, right?
Traffic engineer purpose.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so.
Don't just slow children.
But, I mean, the problem before, if stop sign fell down,
I think we
the
were
bottom
only,
would be cut.
right, I think we were only trying to improve the area where the stop sign was, which was painting a stop bar. Of that's what I requested, I think that was the motion that we approved to already complete that project that was, we approved last year. So anything outside of that, outside of,
I would suggest maybe you could investigate an interlocal with another city that has a sign department that could, on call, you know, we need
Repair
to stop
times.
sign,
Yeah,
such and such.
I agree.
Somebody ran over it in the middle of the night, and we need a pole in the concrete, and put it in, okay, it's gonna cost $500.
That would be an
That'd be great.
awesome plan, except I think we were trying to
It's
improve
gonna
the
work better
road.
than having a contractor,
Yeah, no, I get it.
but I don't know,
I think
maybe
that's
Wylie
what-
probably has, if they're big enough to have
We
a
already approved it.
sign shop. But they're
We
on.
already
Oh,
approved
yeah,
it.
they do.
That's not approved.
Problem I'm having with
No, we
any
approved the
city
striping.
that adjoins us
Striping,
is,
yeah.
Yeah,
they've
having the
got
sign
the
done.
same problem
Not
we
sign
do,
thing.
they don't have enough
They don't have
people.
Right.
We don't have
That's-
a-
that's
I
the
have
other
right here,
problem.
striping USA for signage, maintenance, contracts, and
They don't have
upkeep.
that
And it was
problem,
back,
right?
that was back December 11th. See, Rob was here.
You gotta spend all day every day. putting
Okay, so
signs
that,
back there.
that's already been approved. Good point. Thank you,
But,
JT.
so we are waiting
On the
to,
track.
we are gonna get a presentation from him.
Yes,
Cool,
Okay.
then I would wait
From
to
Three
just
six
striping,
is
yeah.
discuss, consider act regarding the ILA with Collin County Governmental Purchases Form.
Okay. You had gone over this a few minutes ago,
yeah.
and, for anyone that's not familiar with, the ILAs and all, this just makes it real easy for us to piggyback on their contracts. And if there's any questions about it, we can go over it, otherwise.
Well, just that a lot of this is used for materials, which don't have to have any specific design. You know, 2-inch gravel or 1-inch gravel or whatever, sand, concrete, cement. But if you talk about building a road, then you have to find a contract that has the exact specs that you want. Or else you have to use their specs if you want to piggyback on concrete. You can't piggyback on a contract that calls for a 4-inch road and you want 6 inches of asphalt or
It
whatever.
has to be exact.
Different
Right.
specs, just a different road.
And,
But this is a good start.
So,
It's a good
yes,
start.
exactly, so I think that the response to this is, do you need a motion to?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the sign on the ILA with Collin County Governmental Purchases, allowing us to move forward in our purchasing.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Is that Robert?
Yep.
Totally in, the more of these that you have, the better off you, the better shopping you can do.
3.7, discuss, consider act on purchasing procurement policy.
So what we had was all, Ross helped me with this, he sent me a form of a policy. I have not dove deep into that yet. It's been busier than you think. I've got election stuff and there's a number of things, that are, taking my time, a little more time than what I expected. But the purchasing procurement policy, as we look down the road to hiring other people or whatever, my thought is we probably need to go ahead and get one in place, I would think, so that whoever we're hiring knows that this is what you need to follow. What goes into the purchasing and procurement policy? And this is a question I have for Rob, is like we were talking about on the road maintenance, you know, having a plan to follow, some policy to follow. I know JT's talked several times about policies. This was where I was starting with policies, and of course I found that all of ours are outdated and redundant.
And, I'm sorry, so we don't have one to review?
We do not.
Okay, so
Do
can
we have a
just,
draft?
can we just get a draft and move on?
Yeah, I wanna know, do y'all wanna go ahead and do it now before somebody comes in, or would you
Yes.
rather this be,
Sure.
an activity for
Yeah,
them?
keep moving forward.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Work on the draft.
okay, so we're gonna work on the draft, that's good, we don't have to take a vote on
Okay,
it.
no motions or anything, just,
No.
okay.
3.8 is discuss and consider act on resolution 24-04-08A regarding the appointment of Judge Terry Douglas.
All right, we
I
went,
guess this is where it's gonna get interesting. according to some people.
We've been working on this idea since I got here. We had to figure out first how to do it, we had to figure out, did it warrant? Yeah, it does. This is not a new idea, there's no particular situation that's created it other than it needs to be done. This is what all cities do. It's almost like, what I think your associate said it best, she said, you've had to create a city. To be able to enforce anything, and this is not to weaponize, I know that term has been used to
Stick to
weaponize.
the.
Can we just, what are we being asked to vote on, and can we just address
One,
that?
Judge.
Then, can we just make a motion to proceed? I make a motion. that we proceed.
Has everybody read this first?
What's the contract, so I have a couple questions, so before I read that, what's the contract, is it contractual? What's the contract date for Judge Terry Douglas?
That's a good point, and I was gonna bring something of that up.
Is it
his
May
appointment
13th?
Goes with, along that same, that's the mayor.
With the mayor's term?
Yeah, with the mayor's term, so.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
seems
something
good to
you
me.
guys would wanna postpone until?
So we should table this for a month.
I wouldn't,
That's negative.
no.
No, this needs to be taken care of.
What I had in mind was, the first thing you need to do is appoint him. He's told us what his terms are. We'll work out an agreement with your terms and his terms. I haven't had any feedback from what, if y'all are good with the terms that he's, you want a flat fee per month for 1 year. And he'll adjust that down if he doesn't spend much time, and may go up if he spends some more time, so forth. He'll decide what the court days are. But first thing I wanted to do is to get together with him and the lady that wants to help us organize it, and the prosecutor. And they can figure out the time, who does what days are court, what days are plea dockets, and that kind of thing. A lot of,
I think he's
a
already
little
put that
rigmarole
out.
has to go through it. Excuse me?
He's already put that out.
Well, but he's not the only one involved, so he can't exactly just dictate everybody's schedule. He's gonna have to work with those two people. You gotta have court clerk, you gotta have prosecutor.
Correct.
So he can't just do that and say this is the way it's gonna be, because those people have other jobs to do too. So he's gonna depend on,
Right.
they're gonna have to come to a meeting of the minds about those things. So then everybody can put it on their schedule, and then on, third Wednesday of the month at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you have court, whatever. Everybody on schedule. But the first thing you need to do is appoint him. We'll work out
And then we'll.
work out a contract with him based on his terms and our.
We've been talking about this, I know, since September, and the conversation's been that if we're able to move forward, we can actually have it in place by June. With that in mind, I'm gonna make a motion that we appoint Judge Terry Douglas.
Can I ask one more question before you motion to the attorney? So just to touch point real quick, on putting this forward, if we move forward with this, because this runs in succession with the mayor, we as a council are appointing this judge.
That's right.
Okay, we're not allowing the mayor to select the judge.
No.
Council can remove
Council
it at any
does.
time. Council can terminate this at any time.
Is so how does the law read it where the judge is to be appointed by the mayor? Can you interpret that for me?
The government code provides it be appointed by the government body,
And I'm asking the government, or I'm asking the.
not the mayor.
Okay. Okay, it's never been the mayor.
Well, the mayor in a general law city, if you have no municipal court, is the judge. It used to be called the corporation court judge. No town that I know about has
Has
the
ever been
mayor
that.
as judge anymore. Because your code of ordinances has created this court years ago. So David Ginsburg never been the judge, nor has the predecessor, because you've had this ordinance on the books. You just never appointed anybody to fill the position.
The term runs concurrent with the mayor's term.
It's a 2-year term, but.
Right.
The council can terminate the judge's contract.
It's not an appointment by the mayor.
It's a two-year term, and I'm not gonna get into whether you can remove it or not.
Yeah, that wasn't my question,
So
you
you
know.
have a two-year term, and it is, your ability to remove it is gonna be controlled by the Texas government code, because that's who says you
Read
appointed.
the contract, it's right there.
There is a termination council can remove for any time with or without cause.
I understand
What was that?
that,
Sound
however,
like a good person?
Yes.
Yes.
in our ordinances, does it not read that the selection of the judge or the magistrate is Mr. Gensler at this time?
It may be, but it's wrong.
For that.
Okay, so then why aren't we correcting that if it's wrong, and then in placing this as well?
We can do that if you want to. The main thing is to get a judge.
I ask if, is there,
If by state law, we can appoint it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter that our ordinances are wrong,
Or,
because the
yeah,
state law trumps
State
that.
law trumps our ordinance.
okay, well,
So I have a motion to,
anybody else wanna see any other magistrate? Has anybody else looked at any other magistrate other than Mr. Terry Douglas, who's being presented to you today?
Frankly, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that we had
Oh, I'm
someone
sure.
that was interested, but then they stopped talking to us, and this is the first I've heard that we had somebody that,
We can terminate him
that?
at
I don't
any
know, it was
time.
one of the meetings, it was a lady.
I understand, but you see, I guess I didn't understand.
Okay.
I was not aware, nobody until this day, today, has advised us, other than just right now, that our ordinance is wrong. How long have we known about that our ordinance is wrong? Because I think that,
I read it.
Ordinance.
I read it, nobody advised me that it was wrong.
Nobody asked me, I told them.
I just found out about it
Okay,
right
well,
now.
gentlemen, I've got a motion on the table I'd like to move forward
So
with.
why don't we,
Well, we'll
If
fix
that's-
it, but we got about 50 other things to fix, so this is not one of
there's
them.
there's about a list of 60 things
Yeah.
that I think that we need to fix
Not
right
on the
there.
agenda, not on the agenda.
Oh, I understand, a lot of my stuff doesn't get made to the agenda, but my point is that if we have something that's wrong, you can shake your head all day long, but this is what the council,
Well, I don't
the
understand.
council needs to hear this if we don't know about it. If I don't say anything, it's just gonna continue to happen, right? So I'm saying that I don't wanna strip you of an ability that you have, or that you may potentially have. But if he's saying that ability is wrong, that we're wrong, then we need to correct that, so we can go ahead and put this in place, or we can put this in place, and still, we need to address that.
I agree, we can
Our-
put this in.
Our
You guys can put
ordinance
this in.
doesn't say the mayor appoints him, he selects him and the town elects him.
And
The
the
council
governing
elects.
body,
So-
elects.
Just
So
like
if
P and
we're
Z.
if you wanna follow this, if you're
Yeah.
recommending or suggesting it, then we can all vote.
Perfect, cool. So then, that's how I would like for it to be. Okay, I would like to empower him to be able to make this selection, so we, the council, can elect it.
Alright, so still, the motion on the table is that we appoint this person,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So the motion, that's the motion that's currently.
I'm just
on the
trying to,
table.
I'm just trying to follow our
It
ordinances,
does say-
Right.
like I've always done.
Okay, Mayor, would you like to select or recommend that we put Terry, or?
Terry Douglas.
Terry Douglas in as the judge?
Yes, I do select and recommend that we
Okay,
take into
thank you.
consideration approving Judge Terry Douglas.
John, you have a motion?
Make a motion that we appoint Judge Terry Douglas.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes.
All right.
Who was my second?
Me.
Mark. And here's our town. Moving to 3 now.
Yeah, I need to take a deep breath.
Okay.
3.9, discuss, consider act on contractor, consultant, municipal clerk to assist with development of a municipal court and maintain same.
This young lady, is interested in a contract. She has a full-time job. This would be a contract position for her on the side until we could either fill someone permanently to that position if need be, or, however long we decide. Again, our pool of people, you know, there's not people just knocking down our door, to do this. It's not, I'm sorry, there's not a big pool of people to pick from. She did meet with me and Courtney and Travis, and she seems very bright. She has a long,
A lot of legal experience, looks like, and it's the administrative secretary to the police chief. You have a nice small police department.
Then I would like to make a motion that we do act on making Miss Grisolia municipal clerk to assist with the development of a municipal court and make.
We approved somebody hiring somebody
I
last
have a
year.
motion, do I have a second?
hey guys, can I ask
Second.
one more thing before we do that? Do we need to limit the hours? Do we need to put a cap on anything? Is there,
Well, that we can discuss.
That we can discuss another time. and
Okay.
hire-
Yeah, this isn't gonna be a 20-hour-a-week
Okay.
job.
So Mark made a motion to accept,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? All right.
Bring back the contract.
okay.
Hmm?
See where it's looking.
Well, I know, we hired a consulting firm to still make it.
310,
make
to
the decision for us.
discuss, consider act on nominating 2 council members to act as hiring team as it pertains to recent engagement of DC Municipal Consulting to assist with candidates for staff positions.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind volunteering for that.
Okay, so I have Councilman Simmons that's interested. Do I have a second person? I would like to, recommend, if he is willing to accept, Councilman Dragner.
Sure. I have a question. Is this position, I'm just looking at our code here. This position also serves as a term, 2-year term, current mayor.
So there is a,
Is that right?
there's gonna be an ordinance that's going to amend it, but that won't change the current ordinance, it just amends it, right?
I'm sorry, which one?
So this is,
The clerk?
this is,
No, it's the town administrator.
right, that,
There's no term for that.
cause in our ordinance, it says it runs with, I think,
Said officer will serve a 2-year term extended from term to term as hereafter set by the town council and mayor.
That's the town secretary.
That's the only thing we had.
this is an administrative position.
In our ordinances, we only have 2 positions.
Katie wants me to make one more change, which is to take out the second part of that, where it's currently has an assistant city secretary, who's supposed to work for nothing.
Right,
Katie wants me to take that out.
yeah, that's,
Just leave that section
I
out.
saw that too.
that's old,
And
That's
there's
not
another
involved.
section in here where the town administrator can make recommendations, and the council can decide to hire somebody to assist.
Yeah, but that's,
But
We're
in
gonna-
additional offices, but that's not until you decide to do it.
we're getting ahead of ourselves on that 311.
right.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
not
kind
on
of-
this question. So let's, I've got to make one more change here to take that, well, David's got to take that, assistant secretary.
See, I attached this,
You want me to take that section out?
the current ordinance is attached behind, 311, if anyone wants to look at it.
So 310 doesn't specifically state what staff person we're
Yeah.
hiring.
What's the consulting firm recommending?
They're gonna have, they want people to work with them from the council to let them know who we're looking for in the city secretary.
Well,
Town
So we-
secretary.
are we
the very
looking for
first
some-
thing they were contracted to do was
Absolutely.
to do job descriptions, and so what job description
Are they
are they
recommending?
doing, and what are Robert and I volunteering to hire?
That's kind of.
Which,
You're in.
what we're asking
Question that it was.
for the hiring is just to do the job interview.
Right now, it's only.
Yeah, but they were supposed to do an assessment of what we needed,
Right.
which is why we paid $20K.
That's the only one that's proposed by them.
Okay.
And, yeah, and y'all be working with them to drill it down further. We don't want everything to have to wait a month at a time.
So this ordinance is gonna be changed, this administrator ordinance, because Katie's already told me she wants to take out the assistant secretary section. It's unnecessary, and it doesn't make any sense. She said, who are you gonna get to do that work for nothing?
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
Katie's the.
nice thought, but,
Consultant.
It does say,
Yes.
except as the town
Not-
council may fix from time to time by resolution, so it doesn't say they have to.
Right.
And we did do that with Rob.
she doesn't want to.
But I get it, take it out, it's
Yeah,
okay.
because right down here it says, with town council approval, the town administrator can hire, set, any jobs that you all create.
Okay.
Did I have a motion to accept 310?
I make a motion that we have council members, Robert Simmons and David Dryden work with DC Consulting to assist with, candidates.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just rather than abstain.
You vote for yourself.
Was that an aye? Was that an aye or no?
No, it's not.
Motion carried.
Okay.
Carried. I didn't hear
Some
any.
salary always.
Okay, 311, we kind of went over that already. So if you guys got any questions, ask them. Want to talk about it, let us know.
Somebody last year.
Yeah.
So,
311 is discuss, consider act on amending Article 9.02 to include hiring of additional staff to accommodate workload demand and service requirements.
Yeah.
As long as whatever we're amending it to allows for us to also use contracting and not just necessarily full-time hire to the city, as long as we can contract, I'm fine with that.
This is not ready.
right, okay, so this is
So we got
a
table that
draft,
one?
so we
It's
don't
a
have,
proposed draft,
so it'll have to come back
Okay.
again. so-
311 gets tabled.
so we'll table it.
Postpone it.
We covered it yesterday.
Yes, that's right.
Right,
Postpone.
that's okay.
TRMS.
Okay, so
But you do want since you're wanting the ability to, contract if
Contract.
necessary,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then we're, amending the assistant secretary. So they don't work for free.
And the ability to amend the ordinance as needed.
3.2, discuss only regarding,
3.12.
what's that?
3.12. 3.12. Hmm?
That's what I was going to.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard 3.2.
You said 3-2.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. 3.12, discuss only regarding TRMS participation.
This is just to keep in mind that probably anybody you hire is already participating in this, and town would probably have to sign up. We'd have to adopt, in 2 months. You could get, I guess, time for that 2 months if we adopt it. They could get a credit for that time. Then, they get credit for the time, but no money, during that credit. Am I making sense? It's kind of a new concept, but,
I'm not following you.
so if we hire somebody, we have to, we'll have to join, and we decide to join this, after the 2 months that we join it, we have to adopt it, and that person who is a part of TMRS, they can, you get timed, everything is based on the time.
Service credit.
There you go, service credit, and so that time, you get the two, you get,
So is this something we should table?
you can table it.
Towards your retirement.
I'm just letting you know, this is something that you're gonna have to
Right.
consider. if
We don't
we're
have-
in hiring.
We don't have a retirement plan.
We have We have the SEP, IRA.
Right.
With TRMS?
So that's one of the
With Edward
things,
Jones.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the things that's gonna run into, I think, when we're looking at other employees.
They're
if
gonna ask.
They are going, most likely, they're coming from a city,
that have already
they're gonna
done.
be tied into TRMS, and they're gonna want to know, are we providing it? So I think that's why it's really up here, so that, just so that we know that this is gonna be a dollar value that we have to look
But
at.
that's not
It's
necessarily
actually
true
gonna be
because
almost,
some cities.
it's gonna be close to a wash, because we're not gonna be making, employer-funded contributions to what we're doing now. To the SEP, it would be going towards TMRS.
Because there are cities out there
Well,
that pay into social security.
But I think it would be wise to participate in TMRS just to be able to attract higher talent.
Yeah,
Well,
it's gonna
I
be.
concur, but we don't have it now, right?
No, we don't have it now.
Right, so, but that's not what's being proposed.
Discussion.
This
We're
is
just-
just to let you
discussing-
know,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
something
just
that you're gonna need, if you're gonna recruit somebody that.
Cool.
This is something you're gonna have to keep in mind.
Right.
It
What we
looks
need-
like it's gonna be a
Anybody-
$4,000 to $6,000 a year cost,
Yep.
as far as for contributions to retirement plans, but we wouldn't be doing SEP contributions going forward, so.
It's a wash with
Cool.
what it's doing right now.
But from an administrative retirement plan, stuff like that, it would put all of that on TMRS's shoulders.
Cool. Discuss.
All right.
Thank you.
3.13 is discuss, consider act with regard to nomination of emergency management coordinator and assistant emergency manager coordinator with regard to annual requirements by Texas Department of Emergency Management.
Is this something we discussed last time?
No,
Have we
I
previously
don't think
discussed,
so.
not anything with,
So-
emergency management?
Not officially,
No, not official?
not officially, I think,
Oh,
I
never
think,
mind.
yeah,
I understand.
you got hit behind the table.
That was me
So-
hitting you up for it.
It was a hard hit.
So, yeah, there are actually requirements that we do have, an emergency management coordinator and an assistant. And,
So, the county's always, the fire marshal and the, I guess he's a deputy emergency, now they have an emergency management coordinator, was always the assistant coordinator, and then the mayor was always our public information officer. For some reason, it's very vague with them, and that's probably why we need somebody that can dial down on this and get involved with it.
Does this have to be decided tonight?
It doesn't have to be decided tonight, but we do need to work on it.
It's something that Texas requires now.
Yeah, we have to
It's a
complete this
requirement?
ordinance. and it-
requirement.
The Texas Department of Emergency Management, I've talked to them several times,
Okay.
but they're very hard to get their attention. I did, however, ask Evan if he could send me anything with regard to training that goes with this, any information that goes with this. It's almost as though they're not able to tell us what they want. So I'm think probably have to dive into it. I don't have a lot of information on it. It just got thrown at me, and I've always thought we needed an emergency management plan outside of the county, just in case there was something that just hit the whole county, so you could kind of be a little self-sufficient.
We do, and that is not the mayor's responsibility. That's something that we should have someone on the council on, and, because the mayor's got his own set of responsibilities in case of an emergency. So the coordinator, I've worked this with multiple facilities and all. I make a motion that, we make JT Trevino our emergency management coordinator.
JT, would you accept that?
Thanks, sir.
And we move on to an assistant somewhere down the line, y'all, as it gets figured out. But we need to check a block and move forward in this.
An assistant would not need to be a council member, correct?
I don't know.
I know the main person doesn't have to be a council person.
Hmm?
The main person doesn't have to be a council person, right? I mean, it is for now, and that's cool, but In the long run, it doesn't have to be.
Can this be amended later?
Sure.
I think it's probably just a matter of
Yeah.
recompleting the form and sending it back in.
Okay. Robert, would you be an assistant?
No.
No?
I'm already trying to hire people.
Interested in assisting?
We may
I
have,
think that has
we
a
may
no.
have town members.
Mainly because I'm not,
Why wouldn't we open that up for potential town members to participate?
You wanna do
Yeah.
that? I'm just, okay, we can do that.
It could be something that they could open up later, yeah. Or-
I think the nomination of Mr. Trevino is sufficient tonight, and we find an assistant later.
I'll second Trevino.
Sounds good. All in favor? Anybody opposed?
I'll send you the links.
I appreciate, much
Yeah,
obliged.
I think your list's gonna get much longer now, I'm sorry.
You need another book.
yeah.
You might as well get a phone book with.
Can I make a recommendation for
Walker.
time that we
It says
postpone
hobby
314?
Yes.
What's that?
I'll make a motion for time that we, push,
Table 314.
yeah, table 314.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. 315, discuss only with regard to current fee schedule.
I've got a lot of questions with the fee schedule. About a year ago, we looked at the fee schedule for the purposes of just making sure that what we were charging wasn't outside of the, or outside of what our inspector and then our backup inspectors were doing. It has grown in complexity as far as, now we have all these SUTs that are coming in that the town has never had. We've got plats that are coming in. These are gonna incur legal fees, they're gonna incur engineering fees, and I would like to see us go to, some type of fee that we charge. Let's just use a number out of, for random purposes. If it's an SUP, if it's a plat, you know, okay, what is your application fee? Well, your application fee is $2,000. So if your application takes engineering review, if your application takes legal fees, any of those type things, because as y'all can see, it has gotten way more complicated than it was in the past. Our fees and stuff right now are based on fee schedules that are
2 decades
old.
Mm-hmm.
The whole form of the fee schedule is at least 20 years or more old. I think I'm gonna need legal assistance on this. We've also got to know these fees that we're charging, can we even charge them by ordinance? Can we charge them by, there's different ways we can or can't. I think there's actually things
Well,
that
our fee schedule would be an ordinance.
No, it's evidently not.
It's adopted by.
It's adopted, the ordinances all point to the fee schedule, and I haven't known if, I guess the fee schedule sits on a desk in here someplace, I didn't know if I did.
The fee schedule's on the website.
It's on the website.
It's on the website, okay, good. And I know we did review this fee schedule, it hasn't been 20 years, so it's been since I've been
No,
back.
no, but what I'm saying, was the fee schedule, looked at from, can you charge this fee? Because I'm finding things that I feel like you cannot charge those fees
Such as?
for. Right now, just off the top of my head, I'm not even gonna go there.
Well, what can we charge? What do you feel that we could charge?
You can charge any fee that's authorized by ordinance or state law or any other authorization for you to set a fee. Some of them in the local government code maybe.
So is there anything that we could?
They're created by an ordinance or a code, usually. I usually try to put them all in a resolution, a fee resolution, so that you don't have to go through with amending your code of ordinances. And so when you do create a fee in the code of ordinances, I would say that the amount being set from time to time by council resolution.
Right, which is what we did. That's
Leave
what,
it
whenever
open.
Franklin, and I guess now E-code went through that, they went through and did all that, and they took it out
Yeah.
of, cause what used to be in our ordinances is sprinkled throughout our ordinances.
Yeah.
They took all those out, they referenced the fee schedule, which is on our website. I'm sorry, haven't been able to find it. I guess I was expecting it to be on the E-code part, but I guess it's someplace else. So anyway, it's out there. We did review at the time what those values were and updated them for that, for the time. And as I recall, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but what I was told at the time was that we looked through to make sure that we could charge those fees, that they were aligned with the state government. And
But
we
like,
took some of them out that were
one
there
of
that
the
we couldn't
things
use
like
anymore.
fence, I think there's some questions about whether you can charge the fence and like,
Well, let me say, the building codes, for example, are yay thick, and there's I guarantee you there's something in there about charging fees for inspections and
Sure.
permits and so forth.
and Roz right now is looking at, she's going down the fee schedule, pulling out the ordinance, seeing if there's, she's going on a.
It's a very labor intensive deal to go back
That
and
was-
trace each one, so I would say don't disturb your fee schedule right now.
No, just,
Except the ones you can identify now, if you wanna raise them, raise them.
Great, so I guess my next question is are we currently aligned with the third-party fees that we're incurring since everything is contracted out, from a town perspective for engineering costs or
I think we're-
inspections?
I think
think
that
we're low.
inspections
I
and
think we're low.
inspections.
So we're not aligned?
So
Well, I don't know.
Well,
No, I'm
let me
asking
ask
that.
this, like for a
So it's-
special use permit, it's $200 plus a review fee, plus additional costs incurred for engineering, attorney, site plan reviews. et
Which
cetera.
is,
So are we passing any of those costs on?
those,
Cor-
we
Not
don't
right now,
have,
we're not.
because my understanding is you've gotta have a fee schedule for those fees that you're passing on. What I'm asking is,
No,
can
it's
we,
additional costs incurred, so
Any
I know
cost
that-
to the
if
town
our
gets passed
engineer has
on.
to look at something, we get a bill for that piece of work. That
And
should
are we
be passed
passing
on.
that?
Then we give it on to them.
Currently, we're
but
not.
what I understood was you can't do that without attaching what those other fee schedules are, because they don't know what they're getting
We
charged.
don't know what a fee
You can't
schedule
just
is
get-
for an engineer until we
but-
get the bill.
But you can't, and here's why I'm saying, can we charge a set fee, like $2,000, $3,000, whatever, when we're doing an SUP or whatever, and then that money comes off, whatever's left they get back, because right now, you're just saying, I don't know how much to charge you.
Well,
I mean, and that's what I'm saying, and $200 is not gonna cover it.
you have to kind of do a cost analysis of how much does it cost you to process a case like that? Because you've got staff time, you've got publication costs, you've got
Right,
paper,
it's-
you've got all the
What
above.
cost of
But
doing
again, our
business?
current
We
fee
don't.
You
structure-
should do it at a loss, because the rest of the taxpayers should not have to subsidize a developer
That's right.
for a zoning
Exactly,
case.
I understand,
It
but I'm.
says anticipated costs must be paid in advance, and then basically you're gonna refund it. So what you just asked for is on our website.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
I just,
I'm asking for, and I've checked with some of the other cities, and this is because it's as though somebody comes in and they're writing you a blank check for, oh, you can just charge whatever. You need to say, okay, here's what we anticipate your fees are gonna be on this, like 3,000, 2,500, whatever, and then.
but it
we-
says this right here, any
Yeah.
I know,
anticipated
but
costs.
you're
will be
missing
paid
what
in
I'm
advance.
saying. Do you wanna go in and go, okay, yeah, what I understood was you've still got to tell somebody what those fees are ahead of time.
But you've got at least two,
But I think
three
it's covered
SUP
right there,
applications
what
that
it's stating.
we can go back and say the attorney was this, the engineer was this, et cetera, and then use that as a range. It doesn't have to be published, just tell them.
Well, what I've done in the past is to set a minimum fee, which is based on an estimate of how much an ordinary case will cost you. But there are some engineers, for example, that will poor boy the first filing, and they expect you to catch all their errors, and for you to do it and pay your engineer to do it. Well, I saw that coming a long ways off, and so we fixed the fee so that if they went anything above the normal process, in other words, the engineer had to look at plans twice, we just charge them and pass through for that second one. If it's a third one and so forth,
But I don't think you
and
need
they
to
pay
get,
it because they don't get their plans approved until they
but I
do.
don't think we needs to get hung up with trying to create some menu, I mean, just. give
No,
them-
you're not just guessing, but you do have to put some language in there that says you can charge an additional fee on top of that.
Does Bureau Veritas have those listed? I know we were working with Bureau Veritas.
I haven't worked with them on SUPs or anything
Well,
like
that's true,
that.
not SUPs,
So-
yeah.
Anyway, so that's how you can handle that.
So I need, but that's what I'm saying, that I think I need legal to kind of sit down and go through this with me, so I know, because the town hasn't always done that, and I'm concerned that, yes, these things are getting more and more expensive and more complicated, and, you know, we've got, like he said, the one thing I'm realizing is we've got publications, you know, that have to be noticed, those have gotten expensive, you've got recording fees that have gone up.
But
So-
again, all that's a lot of details, but you've got that covered right here.
Yeah, so if our fees are,
If-
if our
but
fees
it-
are aligned, and
Just,
if
But
they're
it's
not
not-
aligned,
you
it
just gotta
doesn't
put a
tell them
dollar
what
amount
they're-
to them, but
But
$200 for that is outrageous.
outrageous,
Terrible.
that's
You
right.
both saying the same
At
thing.
least $1,000.
yeah,
And that's what I'm saying, I need help devising what it is we can do. Like I said, I've talked to a couple of cities where how it, you know, we'll, as an example, like an escrow fee. It's not an escrow fee, an escrow fee is usually something handled by a third party, but let's just say it's sitting in an account, you've got 3,000 in an account, and you just keep coming off the account. At the end, if there's some left over, it goes back to them. If it's over, they either put more in the account, or they, you know, or they owe you at the end, or they settle up at the end. I'm just looking for, I mean, there is a little bit of accounting that goes there, but at that point, you are specific to that project, and you know what fees are coming in and going out on it.
So you kind of telling us what you want to do.
I'm
It's a
making,
discussion.
I'm making suggestions.
Yeah, it's
Like
a
I said,
discussion, it's
We
not
have
an action
discussed it
item,
and
so.
we're
I know
discussing.
everything in the past has been, let's just keep it simple, but we're past simple, this is, and I know the town can't make money, so this is the only way I can say that it's not
I
making
think,
money.
I don't remember
You're-
saying keeping it simple in the past, but I do remember saying that we should not try to nail it on the
Well, you
head.
didn't say keep it
We
simple.
didn't.
That's fine, but we didn't, we don't need to nail it on the head to where we don't make any money, you know, because there's also cost of overhead of staff, there's cost of overhead electricity,
And that's what
you
Rob
know,
was saying.
lawyers, engineers, so there's overhead costs that we're not even accounting for probably in a lot of these fees. So I think that best effort to get this updated, doesn't have to update the whole thing, update the parts you know, and then let's move forward.
And that sounds fine.
Leanne, are you needing help then with the amount, with the verbiage, with the justification to that? What-
How, because if you put a fee schedule, somebody is gonna want you to justify what your fees are, why you're charging those fees. So that's what I'm saying, it is,
somebody being the public,
yeah, whoever your
But-
applicant is.
But right now, an applicant sees this and says, I gotta put a deposit on stuff, engineering services, site plan reviews, research, et cetera. That's what we've got listed.
Right,
So,
but they got,
You
but
just need a
they,
dollar amount?
You're not gonna get an argument.
I'm sorry, Rob.
That's almost non-existent, because
But-
they're gonna pass it on to the builder, or just gonna pass it on to the
I mean,
homeowner.
But
I'm
not-
just wondering,
but not-
are you getting hung up on, do you need an
No,
amount? Do
I'm-
you need a?
Yes, if you will.
Yeah,
and the fee schedule, and that's what fee schedules are tied to, because the fee schedules change from time to time, so that's
Well,
the other thing, our fee schedule is so way off from, when I got here, I had to ask for an update on fee schedules, because, not on this fee schedule, because our fee schedules for engineering, that sort of thing, hadn't been updated forever.
But,
Okay, so,
but,
but I did give her a
but
copy.
engineering and all, that's not a fee that we're charging, that's a pass-through cost that we're getting billed for, that we pass through, so that doesn't need to have a schedule attached to it, it's just what it is. So if you wanna come up with, hey, on average, it's $2,000, all right, tell them it's gonna be $2,000, and then we pass it
so,
through. We're not making any money,
But,
but they're,
but things have changed, like the SUPs, let's just go with the SUPs. we now are, where before the town is just going, okay, SUP or no SUP, now the town wants engineered information, we have to go get somebody to look at it, it's gonna cost, we've gotta up that.
Again, I get all that, I
Put
just,
that number down there and.
yeah,
we don't
2
know
grand,
that
3
number.
grand, 5 grand, I don't care, just whatever the average costs have been, to my knowledge, we have not passed through any cost yet.
Cause we didn't
So
have
we
any
should be able
examples
to
of
go
what
back
we
and
did.
see what an engineer has charged us for a particular job,
So,
and go back and figure out an average or
so
a range.
then, where we're at right now is, someone comes in, they fill out an SUP permit, they give you $200,
That's how it's been in the
and
past.
that's it,
And
and so we're not, yeah, we haven't gone back and
I
informed
don't
them.
care
that
what's
they're
going on
gonna
in the
pay.
past.
Right,
What our thing says here is that they're gonna pay additional costs, pick a number,
exactly.
2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand, again, it doesn't, just pick a number that's fair, and, cause it's gonna come back to them anyway. If it's
If
not,
it's
no, we
over.
put, I gotta pay more in, I don't see
Yeah.
why we'd have to spend a lot of brain energy on this thing.
One of the other things too is drainage, so we've got drainage, our drainage is off, so I'm gonna have to look at that, because we're gonna have to have engineering on any kind of drainage application. So
What
I
does
need,
drainage have to do with our fees?
I'm just saying it's another item that's,
SUP 's
that's
But
an
again, that
issue.
would,
Involved.
that would fall under engineering services,
Yeah.
so.
So we need it, but I'm saying that it's,
So we're gonna go ahead and put, well,
I mean,
do some number crunching and see.
you can update,
Yeah.
you can update section I, zoning and land use fees, and throw in 1,000 for each of those, plus the additional cost that they have to put a deposit on. It's not, shouldn't be that hard after the fact, we get a bill from the attorney, we pass it on, we get a bill from the engineer, we pass it through.
Okay.
but I mean, they've gotta know some expected amount.
Well, that's what the fee schedule's for, that's posted
So-
online, right?
To come up with a good minimum, you're gonna have to go back and analyze a case or two.
Sure,
And-
and we haven't had
What it
any
actually
cases
costs.
to analyze until
Then
recently.
then throw out a number,
Okay.
2 or 3 grand. I mean, it's just, it's a deposit.
Now, I don't wanna do a deposit, that's too much.
Not a
kick.
deposit.
Well, I mean, fees will be refunded if no costs are incurred.
I wouldn't
So-
do it that way.
Would we?
Well, wait a minute.
I would set a
That's
minimum.
what's in our, that's what,
I'm just with that, I've said.
but that's what we've got right now.
Okay, that's what we got
So
right now.
legally, if you were recommending we change it, that's different, but what we've got right
I
now is.
haven't seen that, and I don't think it's a good idea.
Hold on, we haven't seen that, is it in our
That's what we
ordinances?
need.
But you set a minimum fee, and you add, and you provide that you can add the additional cost caused by additional review requirements. That's, I'm telling you. I
So
got-
would we put?
So
like,
you're not recommending taking extra and then
No,
refunding,
no,
you're just saying just
No,
bill.
that's just one more,
So if you get an attorney fee for a project, then you just send that to them and expect them to send us a check.
So we should at least
Yeah.
have something on there saying attorney fees of whatever.
Well, I've never
That's
done it,
about
I've never
fair.
done it for attorney's fees, but if you did just set it high enough to where it would account for, you know.
Well, so what you're saying is that paragraph then ought to read something like,
I'm not even looking, I can't even read it from
we will
here.
bill you for additional services, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, I've always done it with regard to engineering, and I gave it.
So this pricing that I see, the schedule of fees was effective August 12th, 2019. So it's only an assumption, but that prices always increase, they rarely decrease.
Right.
Is the fee schedule here, the costs for single fee items, for all these fees, are they currently aligned with whatever third-party costs that we have to incur, whether we outsource our engineering for review, whether it's, our permitting, who is it, Gary Miles?
So the inspection type stuff, yeah,
All
that,
of it, the inspection, anything that we
that
third
was
party.
the first thing that was looked at for comparison, because we were going with the inspector and then a backup inspector to make sure we were covered either way.
Are we losing money every transaction that happens?
I think we are.
Okay, so then let's get the exact enumeration. If there's a fixed fee, which I'm assuming that there's a fixed fee for certain permits,
Yes.
then we just need to align them. And I think our ordinances state that we can.
Yes.
Okay, so then let's just do that.
And I've given Leanne the last,
Different, I mean, everybody does.
fee schedule that I worked on,
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that's a reference, but I think we do, like Rob said, do analysis.
Yeah, I mean,
Because we're not gonna have the same numbers,
Right.
charges that,
But the
you
thing is,
know,
I don't even know
Dallas
what our
has.
original fees were based on. I wanna create something that I know what those fees are based on, and then anybody following me knows where did that fee come from originally. Like I said, the inspection fees, that was worked on.
I'd like to
Within the
minimize
last year.
overhead costs as well, minimize the amount of money that we're taking as a deposit, so we're not constantly having a refund. That's something that I get that we have accounting software, that's something that I just don't want the town to have to undertake. I would rather have to ask for more, which I don't know if we can ask for
But
more.
define what that,
But, I mean,
so that it, well.
I don't think we have to justify any cost. This is the cost of doing business. You want to build, this is what it costs.
But when you go in to buy, but if you were going in to make an application,
Mhm.
just say, if I'm going in to make an application and they say, okay,
What's
your
this for?
application fee is $750, you're thinking,
Why?
wow, I've already gave you $750, and now you're coming back to me and going, you know,
I
and
need
and
more.
then somebody tells you, well, I can charge you more, I'm gonna go, well, how much? How much am I gonna be expected, you know, and you need to be able to tell, every time you have a review, like, let's say
I understand that.
engineering charges like a per sheet fee, so we say, okay, engineering, then
No, we should
if
know
you bring
that
it back,
fee.
then
Yeah, we
we'll-
should know that
we'll
cost
put
too.
a-
So Leanne, do you need, who's gonna ultimately make this decision? Is this the mayor, is this the town secretary, is this council?
The decision of what?
On the
If you
fee
wanna
schedule.
change a fee, who ultimately?
Is that an
does
administration?
And
So
We
we're
set fees?
responsible for setting the fees. So can you make recommendations, specific recommendations, I wanna change that fee?
Yes.
Where we can vote and say yea or nay?
yes, and that's what I said,
And
I
I
just
think
wanna
what
know.
And if you need to get with Robert or JT or
Go
me
through the whole fee
and bounce an
structure.
idea off, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't,
But let's just, tell us what you wanna change, let's
Right.
change it if we want.
and let's not try to go through the whole thing, though. We need to do,
I mean-
we need to target the ones we know of.
Emergency for me is the SUPs, the
Yeah,
platting,
yeah.
the, like you said, the land use type stuff, drainage is, again, that needs to go in.
But again, all we're talking, if you wanna change the $200 for a SUP to 1,000, great, do it. But it doesn't mean that we're still not passing on the other costs to the applicant. So,
But we just have to give them some idea of what they're.
No.
No, it's
Send them a
prevailing
bill.
cost, whatever an attorney costs.
it says
I think
plus
it
additional
makes
costs,
sense
just send
to
them a
me.
bill.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
read it, plus any additional costs incurred for
If
engineering.
they ask you,
Just
you
like-
can tell them, hey, I've seen it in the past, but you can't,
But-
you're not gonna hold them to
I
it.
think what Leanne's saying as a courtesy, we should.
She wants
Well,
to
the
give
engineer review for the church is different than the engineer review that's gonna be
Agree
for
with you
the,
100%.
for the public storage.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, night and day difference.
Yep.
Leanne's not, her job is not to give them a quote of what
Guidance.
our engineer is gonna cost.
But I think
Engineer
that's
says,
what
hey, it's gonna
Leanne's
cost you
asking
$5,000,
for.
we need to pass that cost on.
You can ask.
Am I correct?
You
But-
can ask
here-
RDL and say, you know, they can ask the engineer and ask what
Yeah.
you estimate, but just pass it on.
But here's what I'm saying, SUPs started out where it's kind of a simple process, get down to something else. So, we've got to define, I guess, a little better too, what our fees are, what we're charging for. Other than just a simple, it's an SUP. I
Okay,
mean,
so
what
we're
goes
gonna
into our
have to
SUP?
put it-
Yeah,
Because our SUP
I'm gonna
application,
respectfully disagree. Put a fee, $1,000, $2,000, just put a fee.
but there's no justification, right?
It's our permit fee.
It's our permit fee.
It's
yeah.
basically us saying this is what the fee is.
Yeah, bring us a rock and we'll tell you if it's wrong. We didn't concern over this when we got last updated. It was basically like the budget. We went through and said, okay, this one's 200, it's currently costing us 300, move it to 300. And if this one's $50, it really doesn't take $50 anymore because we have a newer service, make it 10. We just bam, 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 done. And we passed an ordinance and it was updated. And I don't know that we need to concern around it being down to the nines to make sure that it's exactly not gonna make money or lose money, because it's gonna kinda come out in the wash.
It's never gonna be that.
If they're
anyway.
absurdly wrong, then certainly we, as a board, should not let that go through. And that's your backstop, is it's our fault if we let something go through that makes no sense at all. But we do need to update these. I don't know that we need to do them all. If there's some that you don't wanna touch, that's fine. Bring the ones that need to be updated and we'll do it. And if you need assistance, then we can talk about that, but if Rob's already has made some progress, let's just take what we've got, let's move forward.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the ones you don't wanna touch, just let us know, hey, I'm not touching these, I don't feel comfortable yet. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, Roz, if she's able to get
Thank you,
some
Robert.
stuff knocked out, we'll put it on the next agenda.
Okay.
Great discussion.
We'll never
Like I said, it's
look.
just, it's
Yeah,
worried me to death.
That's
so-
one thing too, is I just don't want this to be the one thing that we're focusing on,
Right.
staff wise.
So moving to training.
3.16, discuss, consider, act with regard to training for planning and zoning.
So, this last council meeting was canceled because the, didn't know how much room the equipment was gonna take. We might have a lot of people in the room, so again, our plan was to have training when, we weren't going to have a council meeting, but, I mean, a P and Z meeting, but this was a little different case. We've got, election stuff that was pending.
Did that recommendation come by the way of the, Gary? The
What,
Right.
scribe?
Yeah, I was
What
like, Gary, I think,
recommendation?
I go to the building inspector.
what recommendation?
To cancel the meeting?
Cancel.
No, I talked to him about it because,
So it did.
So it did come
So-
from Gary.
yeah, I did go to Carrie and we discussed it. We are gonna try to postpone it to May sixth when the equipment is picked up, to cover,
Okay, so
probably
what were you
Tuesday. So,
talking in regards to
so
training?
the training part of it was the meetings that we don't have something to consider, we probably want to do some kind of training. Rob's already redone or updated the P and Z manual. We need to,
I'm sorry, who'd you say?
What about the
Rob?
ordinance concern, what is the form called, the ordinance concern form? Is that something that they can be reviewing as well?
yes, but, again, we've got new people, we probably need to go through this training, like you did originally, we had that.
Well, they have the state mandate training they have to go through.
Every year,
What's that?
yeah, every year.
Yeah.
Classes.
But that's open records and.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, there's a
talking
lot more
about-
than that.
We're talking about
Yeah.
training for the P and Z committee, something that is more sophisticated.
Yeah, so
So
T-
that
so
they understand
TML,
what they're doing.
so TML doesn't do that anymore. So TML doesn't offer that anymore, cause they did, they used to.
I'm not nearly as impressed
Yes.
with TML as everybody else.
Yeah.
I've called other other cities, asked what they do, they don't even do any training, which scares me to death. But,
There's
Rob
regional
has put
conferences.
together a book, and
They used to hold.
I don't know, May sixth, if you're available or not.
You told me, I told you this.
You were,
That's
yes.
That's the.
You are here, okay, so he is gonna be here on May sixth.
That sounds like.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, all
Hope
my
somebody
dates-
else shows up.
All my dates are starting to run together.
Okay, so Rob will be here on May 6th for training
That's big.
for P and Z.
Well, it's, no, there's gonna be a.
And there may,
Cases.
but there may be cases, but if the cases don't make, he can be here for training.
Okay.
Can we run this, can we still allow them to, even though we have new P and Z members, isn't it, if we empowered them with a citizen ordinance feedback form, can we have them review it and present it to council? Because ultimately, it still runs through council, regardless of their inexperience or experience. Can
So
we
you're
still have
saying a citizen comes in and gives a recommendation
to P and Z?
to update, to P and Z to update a certain code section?
Right, just because if
And
there's
have
a
them
form,
review that.
have them review it, and if they choose to do, if they choose to move forward and provide recommendations to us.
Yeah, why can't we?
Right. But, well, you were recommending that we don't do that, right? Sorry, Leanne,
No.
oh, that we don't do it because of the inexperience.
I'm saying, go through this training first, then take the ordinances and develop how you're gonna do that ordinance review, because it is,
I would let Gary make that recommendation. I'm just,
Okay.
the chairman of P and Z, if Gary so
I would like
sees.
for the P and Z to become more
Oh, no,
of their
so
own,
would
their own
I.
body.
And they can be, and that's what I'm.
They
even
need to
do
be
is that
more sophisticated.
let them become their own body, and I'm not saying trial by fire, but we are the checks and balances for P and Z.
Hold the flag down, so.
So, we are that checks and balances, so ultimately, if they send over a bad recommendation, we either yea or nay anyhow.
And I think too, that P and Z training, that would be an opportunity if they have those, to say, okay, we've got this.
That's a
maybe
real world
visit-
example.
Maybe with Rob there, can say, okay, how should we approach this?
One thing is they have to have an agenda item.
Please don't, sir.
To deal with.
I would love to hear it.
And, they're not
I appreciate
necessarily
it.
self-starting with regard to that, and so I think it ought to be probably at the request of the council.
I
At
think
the
May
request-
6th sounds like a great date for P and Z training.
The agenda items that you want them to look into and make a recommendation, just like a zoning case, you tell them to look at so-and-so and give you a recommendation.
I'm asking Gary to see if what Gary recommends be presented to us, not for us to look at it.
But he's
Us to
gotta
send
he's
to
gotta
them.
have, he's gotta have a
Which
goal,
ordinances
and he's
we've got
gotta have
problems with.
an agenda item to deal with.
He's got, yeah, he's got to have
So,
an agenda item just
if
like
those
this.
forms come
To look at
in,
those forms.
do we need to give them then to council, or do they need to go
There you go.
directly to P and Z?
We'll
It's up to y'all, but
interpret
I would
forms.
think y'all would wanna pick out the ones you wanna hear about, and you give them to him to call a public, to not have a public hearing, but at least put it on their agenda to discuss.
So that's 2 months before.
Do
Make
P
a
and
recommendation, just like a zoning case.
do P and Z members have terms as well?
Yes, they do.
And that's a concern that I have right now, is we have some that are gonna be coming up, and are they gonna be staying or going?
We have to operate still,
Well,
whether they stay or go.
If their term is up, them staying is up to us, correct?
Right, well, unless, but if they don't.
I get if they don't wanna stay, but I mean, if they want to stay, it's still up to us.
Sure,
They
you gotta
can't-
reappoint.
They can't just choose to stay.
No.
Right.
To reappoint.
And do we have any other town residents that have expressed an interest in serving for P and Z?
No. Unfortunately, this year has scared them all.
But again, I don't think we put it out there.
Unfortunate.
So, I
Well,
no
the
reason
other
we did
was-
put it out there, but I think we could
That's not
do
on the
better
agenda.
if it was out there.
That's-
I know that we did have two
The agenda's
people
long enough.
that
without
were not-
anything.
not currently qualified.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward with training with P and Z, and we're gonna make suggestions to them for training. Okay? 3.17, discuss, consider act with regard to training council members.
So, only thing, I guess there's, I know TML maybe, I mean, I think Robert had some suggestions for training for TML.
Yeah, TML training was pretty good in the past, and I know from other towns that use TML, and we used to use TML more, that it's a good organization. Now, it could be that COVID gobbled them up like they did with Cabana and so many other entities, and it's just not like it used to be. But,
He's on a roll today, isn't he?
but I'm not sure. I mean, I just, cause I used to interact with them more directly, and I could, you know, maybe start interacting more directly, but, you know, I'd rather, I don't know, Mr. Diller, have you seen TML retracting in lately years, or have you seen them still moving on, or?
We do work for them, but I haven't been in their training, but the COG at Arlington has good
Uh-huh.
seminar for
Okay.
new council members.
And for P and Z as well?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so maybe the COG's the best way to go? Okay.
Now, there's a
Just
question,
conference.
the North Texas Council of Governments, for that training, do we have to be a member? Because I know the town is not a member.
I don't think you have to be a member.
I don't know.
No, you
don't have to
be.
It's a fee class, I think, but
Yeah,
I
you
don't
have to
know if
pay.
you have to be a member or not.
Okay.
I think there might be an adjustment if you're a member to get a better price.
More
but-
expensive
Yeah.
fee or something.
But I think in our case,
Is
it'd
there-
be cheaper not to be a member and just pay the fee for the class.
Is there any thoughts about required training, other than the 2 courses that, you know, we have to take? Or,
Well, you have to do open meetings and
Yeah.
open records.
Yeah.
You have to do investment.
I mean, it would be good for P and Z to have, if we could find a good curriculum that we think is requiring at least a class or
For
two.
council.
For council.
Oh, we're talking
council
about,
members.
for council?
I'd say for either one, really, that's what I'm wondering.
We're on 17?
That's right.
All right, for both, yes, I think that might be a good idea.
And there's also an online program that you had located, I don't remember the woman that was running it, I say online, it was,
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
on video.
Yeah,
Open meetings and open records.
It was out of
I mean,
Austin.
but they're,
Out of Austin, yes.
The Attorney General's office.
Yeah.
but I know what you're talking about, City Hall essentials, but their things are not always, they're not, you know, that, their things come about as they develop them, they're not, you know, consistently, you can go on and just take it or whatever, you get notification. So when you need them may not be when, you know, when they're available.
Okay, so we're gonna look at additional training for council members.
Okay.
3.18, discuss, consider act with regard to change of regular council meeting date or the adding of a second regularly scheduled meeting each month to accommodate the growing subjects as the town moves forward and necessary executive sessions for town attorney.
This is
I can do Thursday nights and anytime on Friday, and maybe, I guess if y'all really wanna do Saturdays, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's what I got.
Thursdays?
Thursday night, anytime on Friday. Friday, Saturday if you want to, I guess.
Yeah, so this is really an easy one for me. I absolutely think that we need to have a second regularly scheduled meeting, just because we've got 25 items on our agenda tonight.
Which were
And-
postponed on our last meeting.
Right, for a special meeting now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this doesn't include the 6 that we did 2 weeks ago. So I know that there's been a lot of question about, should we do it, should we not? If we have the second meeting, having the second regularly scheduled meeting, that can, my understanding is, that could always be canceled if there was nothing required for it, or we could turn it into a training session.
Right, I would like to have something for a second meeting, a on the record date. And we can always cancel if need be. Maybe we need to set some preliminary or prerequisites, meaning if we don't have at least 6 items to discuss, then we can automatically cancel it without council intervention. Where that could be a decision made by an administrator or secretary or mayor.
And the thing I was running into at one point was that, you know, you get a long agenda like this, it's hard. And, you know, we can spread things out a little better. I know somebody made a report, well, you got 2 agendas, you got 2 minutes and stuff.
I
Well,
don't care about what
that's-
anybody
that-
else says, it
that's-
directly affects us.
yeah,
And I think if
that's
we,
not for them to, they don't have to deal with it.
And having a special meeting time, we'd have to have
right,
It's one extra person.
Right,
Super-
at least this way, you
supermajority.
don't have to
supermajority,
have
right,
the
setting
supermajority.
again, defining those prerequisites, knowing that this has to exist.
It'll also help us during tax, budget season.
Yes, because there's certain things you have to do by certain dates.
Oh, and it
Just-
can't, and it can't be in a special session.
Right,
Well,
So-
it can, but the special session has to have the same number of people there anyway, so.
and that gives you a
Okay,
date,
so,
I mean, a specific time, so you can at least plan for it a little bit, so.
yeah, it would be a regular scheduled council meeting, just like,
With
second Monday.
prerequisites, again, that's just my opinion.
Okay, I
don't
need
know,
a-
opinion.
I need
To
a
be
motion.
consistent, do we make it first Thursday,
Well, that's just one person, right?
third Thursday?
Is everybody
I'm sorry,
okay with
Tuesdays?
Can't do Tuesday.
Good
Can't do
enough.
Monday,
Thursdays.
I
can't do-
prefer not to.
I can't do another Monday, I can't do Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm sorry.
And
Is
can I
Tuesday
ask,
just a bad time completely for
I
you?
can't do it.
No, my question is, does it make sense, would it be better for you to move it to Thursdays anyway?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Versus Tuesday nights? And
Yeah,
so we do the first
So
and
currently, we're
third?
doing Mondays,
I'm sorry,
so that's why I'm confused.
It's
Okay,
Monday.
I'm with you
okay,
now.
yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah, we can move all the Thursdays, it'd be fine with me.
and let me ask this, Rob, would you be able,
Oh,
if we
okay,
needed you
that's
for an
First and third.
First and
attorney
third,
meeting
yeah.
for Thursdays are usually available for Thursdays. That way, if we've got legal matters to discuss or to
Give it
consider,
Monday.
then Rob can maybe be here.
Monday's a tough
Okay,
day.
so-
Are we on Tuesdays?
Thursday.
Am I gonna have a motion?
Mondays.
We haven't.
I motion that we adopt first Thursday, third Thursday as regular council meeting nights.
So we're ditching Mondays.
And we're ditching first Mondays.
And does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, first
Yes.
Thursday,
First and third Thursday
First and third
of the
Thursday.
month will be regular council meeting.
Yes.
7 PM?
Yes.
7 PM.
Yep.
starting, say, what, October, what, with the next fiscal year?
I mean,
Why not May?
We could do it in May.
Maybe June.
We could do
Alright.
it in May.
Maybe June, May's packed.
Make it
Do it in
June.
May.
Okay.
Okay, so make the motion with
I
everything.
motion that we change the council meeting dates from the first Monday of the month to first and third Thursdays of the month at 7 p.m., starting in the month of June.
May.
Is your,
June.
is the council meeting now scheduled by ordinance?
May will be fine.
Are we? I don't recall seeing that.
Anybody?
How did you set the,
Yes.
or how did you set the?
That was a question I had was,
I think it's just always been on Monday. the
I
first-
think it was a
second Monday.
resolution, let me see.
Because we changed the time, we didn't change the ordinance.
Hold on, let me go to Ross's handy dandy list that she has created.
Makes sense.
Let's see what we've got here. No, don't do that right now. I don't want that. Oh, it's not gonna let me open it. I hate Microsoft. I can't sign from there.
It doesn't, and it doesn't appear like.
It's not in the ordinance.
That's the meeting.
It's in resolutions. I'm just, my sort feature here is not gonna let me do it. Let me get out here.
Oh, we still need a resolution then.
None of those.
I just need it to go away. We do this. Resolutions. I think they did it in.
Doesn't tell you much, does it?
No, let's see, we can cheat across here, so, nope, it will not let me in.
Well, never
No,
mind.
I can send it to you. I know it's through, I'm certain it's through a
It's set
resolution.
by resolution, you need a resolution to reset it.
Okay, doesn't have to be an ordinance, it can be a resolution.
Depends on how you set it in the first place.
Okay, said it was, they said it,
I don't-
almost certain it was
I don't think
resolution.
it is, because we changed the times before without a resolution.
Resolution, I think we did another resolution.
Yeah, it was probably by resolution.
I'm almost certain I've seen one.
But still, we need a resolution.
But
So
it
that's
was-
the next step, is to get a resolution drafted
See
up.
if you can find it.
Yeah, cause I think you're right, they changed the time from
Time
what?
from
6
7:30
7:30
to 7:30 to
Seven,
7.
okay.
Just take that resolution and change.
Do I
the
need a
dates and the
re-motion?
times.
No, we have a motion, do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
The motion to start it in,
May.
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 First and third Thursday,
With the
May.
okay.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Okay, but we, that's cool and all, but don't we have to have a resolution, right?
You-
Well, yeah, we can have,
the-
we'll have another special meeting to,
We'll have to, yeah.
yeah.
Can
we-
you- can it be the
We can
first?
vote and all that right now, but it's not official until we have.
So it's
Until we have a
the
resolution.
first
Yeah.
meeting, the special meeting, then in the first meeting in May will be a special meeting where we'll have a resolution then that
So
sets
right-
it going forward.
Right now, it's just a discussion. Leon's gonna look into the resolution,
Is that the first Thursday?
Oh,
then
wait.
create the resolution, we'll have a special meeting, so we don't need
You
a,
can't because
Motion.
we're.
We don't really need anything, unfortunately.
That's a good point.
what?
We're gonna have voting machines in here.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Dang it.
The third is the 16th.
Why can't we do it?
Voting.
They have voting machines in here.
Then
During
begin.
that
If we
time.
got vote, we can't do it.
Can you,
Thursday and May.
let me ask you this, we got a P and Z meeting on the 6th, can y'all just, could y'all come in and we just do it real quick and get it over with?
What
Why
was
don't
it?
Just
It
wait
doesn't
till
matter.
June.
Just wait till June, yeah, it ain't
Until
gonna matter.
June. You're right.
Yeah, it's
Six,
just
what
wait.
you had?
We have to have an official document drawn up, whether it's an ordinance or a resolution. I think it is a resolution, but either way, whatever that document is needs to be drawn up and we have to pass that.
Okay.
Because this is in the state muni code.
Okay, so that'll be on the 13th.
It's pretty official.
So June the 6th.
Beginning June the 6th.
It was not just on the 13th,
Okay,
be effective 1 June.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, 3.1.
okay, hang on just a second, my first was
Well, we're not really
We're
gonna.
not gonna,
Oh.
there's no motion for it.
No motion.
Oh,
You
okay,
have to make a resolution.
okay, I got you, sorry.
That's the 13th is Monday.
No more of my name on
13th is Monday.
No,
Yeah, you just.
Really?
we got-
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute,
It's all right if it passes, it goes through, well,
well, we may have an issue with the Thursday down here.
What?
May have an issue with Thursdays down here.
I have, prior engagements that I tend to on Thursday evenings. Right about now. So,
We could do the meeting from 7 to 8:30. Just make sure we time box it.
right, so again, if we have these constraints in place, then I can work with it.
Or you could just have to leave. There's some boards
Yeah, I
that have
don't
people
think
that
we can
leave.
Restrain ourselves to time.
And
Yeah,
6
we could,
o'clock
if we wanted
restraints.
to.
Yeah.
We could if we wanted to, we just postpone whatever's left on the agenda.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we're not gonna put in the resolution that our meeting's gonna
No,
go from 7.
no, you couldn't do that, no.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
6 o'clock time is too early for everybody, right? Because getting here from work.
Yeah, I can do.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Would you like to have it at noon? I'll buy lunch.
Fridays I could do anytime you want. I'm
So
off
when you
on-
move your
I'm off on
probation
Fridays.
I'm in the same boat as Robert.
Yeah, I can do anytime on Friday.
Thursday.
Just
anytime,
ask the
Friday,
probation
Saturday.
officer to let you move.
I can do anytime on Friday.
Ain't gonna Fridays.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. 3.19, discuss, consider, act on investment policy.
Same thing
They're
as
okay.
the other policies, it's, we've gotta work on that.
Okay, so we're gonna work on that.
Table.
3.2, excuse me.
3.20.
Every Thursday.
Not 3.2.
So
3.20,
it turns out we had an ordinance.
discuss, consider, act on resolution 24.04.18B regarding the adoption of county
Invocation.
But,
invocation policy.
and I'm sorry, I left that, in there, that is, really needs to not be an ordinance. I found an ordinance that was already in our ordinances. Rob looked at it, he said that it's not legal. Yeah.
What's not
I said,
legal?
What
Mr.
what
Rob,
did you
about
say?
this invocation?
Ordinance 232 is not legally an ordinance. Since the council obviously passed it, I would view it as an official statement of policy, like a resolution. If council would like to revisit and possibly change the substantive parts of it, they are certainly free to do so. I think the invocation parts are okay. The other cities I go to have council members or staff members give the prayer. One used to ask a local minister to do that, but it was an imposition on the time, so it was discontinued. So, our existing one doesn't exist, and
It's a legislative, call it a legislative program. Right there.
so, do we need to, and again,
Well, the reason it's not really an ordinance, it doesn't have to match the words, ordinance has to, be it ordained. It left that out.
but is,
More like a suggestion.
so, with the proper verbiage, would this be acceptable? And I guess if you guys wanna look at it and see it, is that sufficient?
Why do we have to have an ordinance for it?
Don't.
Well, I mean, I don't, it's just to state your policy on what's, the law's in there.
Do an ordinance?
No, it doesn't have to be an ordinance. Your policy, it's just a policy statement.
Yeah.
That's what Rowlett has, they just have a policy
Yeah.
regarding this.
So let's read the policy and start this.
Can we just mirror that one?
What's that?
Well, it's a little bit complicated for me, but y'all can do this, I mean, this. Rowlett's a lot more.
Is this something that
Our burn.
Okay.
That's Barman Road.
Needed a little excited, huh?
That one there.
so can we just,
Yeah, well, you're done.
Okay.
I wasn't bothered by the one you had up there. I just gave another example. Oh, okay.
Okay, so
That's a sample.
So this is just a sample that you suggest.
No, that is our ordinance. That is,
No, it's not an ordinance. you know.
well, well,
It's a wannabe.
it was what they call
It's a
an
wannabe.
ordinance.
What was missing? So now be it acknowledged or something like that? Cause that's not. in
Be
there.
it ordained or something.
So now be it acknowledged, is that the part that's missing? Cause there's a bunch of whereases, but there's no, so now,
So now, yeah.
Be it ordained.
Yeah.
City council.
I-
county council.
I don't, you know, I'm all for prayer. I am concerned about it being used maliciously, like we've seen with some municipalities where they'll come in and wanna have a prayer to the devil or something like that. And I don't know
if we
that,
open it up, you gotta have, that could
Can't
be
discriminate.
somebody here.
I'm concerned about that. I don't wanna be timid either,
Well,
but
there's some laws.
at the same time,
that
let's.
You can't use it to tout a particular
Right,
religion
right,
or devil worship
yeah,
or to make political.
it waters it down so much at that point.
To mean somebody else or to pick on one religion.
Yeah.
Or blah, blah, blah. That's to be a
I mean, if we're
legislative
gonna-
prayer, give us wisdom to pass ordinances that are in the best interest of the town.
Yeah,
And
if we're gonna add anything, let's add the state of Texas pledge, you know.
I thought about that.
We can do that.
I said that
I
before.
think that would be something we can say we're gonna do, and it's consistent, it's already written, we know what it says. I just don't wanna open this up to where we're having to be on the 5 o'clock news for something weird.
that's a legislative Texas.
Yeah.
Independent.
Agree with you, Roger.
It's the legislative.
What do we need to do
So
on
what are we
this?
doing?
Robert?
Tom,
It doesn't sound like we have to do anything.
Yeah.
drop back 10 and 20.
Yeah.
So,
I think at a minimum, take what is styled as an ordinance and just change the name around and make it a resolution. And, you know, but be it resolved and put it in the form of a resolution.
Makes sense.
Legal verbiage.
okay.
Oh, no, I understand
You
it.
can do that.
We have to have it there.
All right.
Save yourself $100.
Okay.
All right, 3.21. 3.21, discuss, consider act on agreement with Republic Services regarding Fifth Saturday cleanup day.
So, this just is attachment to our current rate schedule. It just changes it to show that we are going to the fifth Saturday cleanup, which I have gotten, good response to. Anybody that, I get calls always this time of year that ask for, you know, when it's gonna be, and I told them we were switching to this, and they're like, thank goodness we don't have to drag our stuff up there anymore.
Yep.
So this is an additional cost,
No,
10%.
it's just we get one this Saturday a year. And he will let me kinda know when this year it's gonna be the, I think, this Saturday.
So it's an additional cost.
No,
What I'm seeing here is 3-20.0, it doesn't talk about the fifth Saturday, all I'm seeing here is the cleanup week. Carts.
Service on selected week.
Rate schedule, franchise fee.
I thought he had it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
No, we talked about it, but,
He didn't,
What
he
did you say
didn't.
we talked about?
well, actually, yeah, cleanup week will allow each resident up to 8 yards of bulk brush, one service on selected week.
And he said they only do that on a fifth Saturday, so maybe that he's not putting it in there
It-
specifically.
Right, it doesn't specify when it is here. So 3-21 needs to show July.
Yeah, no, I see that. So I'd like to actually see because this is an amendment to our contract, is it not? Our
Yes.
existing contract?
Yes,
Can we see what our existing contract states?
sure, I can send it to you.
Yeah, or is anybody
I mean,
else?
I know that this is higher, this is about $5 a month, or $5 higher, yeah.
The It did go up in February.
Mm.
I
Right,
think
but
I
is
sent
this
this out.
changing as a direct result of us
No,
making a change?
no. This was the schedule that they did in February. The only thing he added was the cleanup week will allow each resident 8 yards of bulk, 1 service, 1 selected week.
So we had already approved the rate increase back in February, or January?
I notified everybody about the rate increase. I
That's
don't
not
believe
us,
there
that's
wasn't
on
an approval.
FCC.
Yeah, no, that's on them, right? I get that, but are we certain with 100% certainty that these numbers are exactly what are on a contract currently? 'Cause
Already did.
Yes, I believe so.
If we wanna raise the rate, but we have to approve it.
That's part of our contract that they can do.
Right, cause I didn't think that this would be changing our contract, if this is the only thing that's changing and not the pricing,
No, I don't believe it's changing anything about the pricing, and I can send you the old.
why would he include it?
Yeah, it's weird.
Because it's our fee schedule.
He just stuck it, he just added it to the bottom of,
Is anybody else interested?
I will
if
send
this-
you what
Is
I will
anybody
do.
else interested in the price if it went up?
Is this the price billed to the town or to the people?
To the people.
Cause that's not what we're paying. And also, they told me that that my basic service does not include recycle. So this is quite interesting to me. And, used to, back when we used to bid this every so often, Rick would show up and talk to us.
I thought we'd gone through the bid process before.
He was here.
Yeah.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he did a presentation.
When you
must have
do this
missed that.
presentation, right, and I'm just wanting to make sure that these
I'll-
prices align with what we currently have. Cause if all we're changing is the verbiage of, we're gonna hold,
Just not paying more than that.
Was that?
No,
Yeah.
I think I need to go.
Yes, you're just asking to see our previous contract.
Okay, I'll send a new one. I'll send it, what we currently have. And then we can sign this next time.
Okay.
because he didn't discuss any price increase, so if you can't tell me with certainty.
Well, I think
No,
he
he
said,
didn't.
he said there
No,
wasn't gonna be a.
He said there wasn't gonna be.
I understand, so why would you include it in the contract?
To
If there was-
define that you're getting a cleanup day, because before they said we got cleanup days at no charge, that's what he's saying
So
here.
you're
We're
saying-
getting it, he's just changing it
You're
to-
saying, why is this in here for
If
the
it's not
cleanup day?
right, if it's not changing any pricing, why would we include an amendment of a change, of pricing in this
Because
new
we're,
contract?
cause we're changing to where they're going and picking it up, and he's defining 8 yards, as opposed to them having the cleanup day
You understand what
here.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, am I saying it wrong?
No, I understand what you're saying, but I also understand what Leanne's saying.
If
You're
any-
just saying, why is this in here if it's not
It's just,
changing?
I'm just one council member, if nobody else has a problem with, if our rates are increasing, whether it's a penny or $10 or nothing, then I'm just one man, I can,
But weren't you the one who called me and said, hey, didn't this go up? And I believe I sent the fee
that was for
schedule.
my personal stuff.
Well, that's what,
It should-
that
But-
should be the only thing that went up,
Right,
and it was in February.
but I'm discussing this, which is a rate schedule, this is a contractual change.
So do you wanna see the old rate schedule to compare it, is what I'm,
I'm asking, I won't have a problem, I won't have to review it if you can tell me that you know for a fact that the only thing changing on this contract is the fact that we're defining the solid waste services at town hall are now going to be at the 8 yards of bulk trash pickup at the residence.
I'm gonna pull it and send it to everybody, just so that they know, because we can sign this at the next one, we don't have to do it here.
We can't.
But if nobody else is interested in the cost, then.
I am.
Okay.
I'm interested. I don't
I
remember.
suggest we sign it next time.
Okay,
So we're gonna postpone it? Do I have a
Postpone.
motion to
I
postpone that?
make a motion, we postpone it so we can have a side-by-side, direct side-by-side comparison.
Do I have
I
a second?
second it.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Yeah, I mean, this is-
opposed?
Because this is $10, almost $10 more than what they're currently charging me, as of like 3 days ago.
Great point.
Okay. I don't
What,
Okay.
do you know
We'll
what?
get that next
Me
month.
neither.
I mean,
Just pay
they're
it.
charging me,
Just pay it.
they're charging me 60, 65,
But I would like to know
84.
the ins and
There's
outs.
No, I agree.
65, 84.
But we already made a motion, the second
So-
passed, so we can discuss
So
it.
verify.
Can you send me a copy of your bill so I can compare?
I'll take a picture right now.
3.22, introduction of the Collin County Project Funding Assistance Program 2023, first series of the Parks and Open Space Bond Program.
Space Force, what?
Open
So-
Space Bond Program,
Oh, okay.
new Space Force.
I sent this to y'all, I don't know the specifics of this, I know there was some interest in it, so, I guess they've got an advisory board that's accepting some applications too, but
Yeah, has anybody applied for this or interested in applying for it? I have.
I don't know any of the specifics, I don't know if this takes legal review, Bob, or if this is,
No, this is just basically asking for people that are interested to apply
No.
for it.
but it's a bond program, I guess, that we could
Right.
apply for, is what I understand.
We can apply for money.
We can be a part of
We
that.
can
So,
apply for a
it's
project.
not just about
To
being
put
a
in a
part
park,
of the,
or
Yes.
which we have Collin Park down the road.
I mean, we have multi-part
Private.
down at the end of Rolling Meadows, but, you know, we've never done anything with it. We don't mow it, we don't do anything. But that multi-part there at the end of North Rolling Meadows is the town's. It's our,
Where's
it's
that
the
at?
town's property.
Rib Park?
Really?
Yeah.
Right here?
I mean, we could buy the property next to Sonic and put a park on it.
In
Can we buy Sonic too?
As long as they put a sewer system in so we don't get.
The end of that
septic.
road is a park.
a
A
park?
swamp?
You gonna look
Yeah, it's
into
all
that?
grown up. If you look through the
Yeah.
trees, you can see the old sign. All the trees are grown up into it.
Yeah, it's,
Where the equestrian trail goes
it's
through.
Blackie, yeah.
But
that is the town's property.
Yep.
Andy used to mow it, but when he found out it was the town's property, he stopped
He
mowing it.
quit.
Andy, my neighbor.
I like that. That's town from, I'm not mowing it anymore.
Do you know where?
So it's currently not being mowed? Are we citing ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see.
I hope
What
not.
difference would it make, we don't have a municipal court yet?
I mean, I think they go through
Right here.
and they're defining, you know, the bond and all that, and what it's for, but it, right,
This.
the fourth paragraph is the Collin County Parks Foundation Advisory Board is now accepting applications, to be reviewed, okay.
Yeah, just.
I read that
application
as they're accepting applications.
Individual applications?
Yes.
Yeah, individual town applications, cities in Collin County.
Don't ask.
So,
Okay, yeah.
again, y'all can look into that,
Right here.
let me know if that's something anybody wants to do.
It's ours, Kate.
Just know you gotta do it by July.
I don't.
I mean, right now,
The council.
I mean, back to the topic I brought up, it's the horse trail,
Yeah.
and they have horse ties where you can tie a
Yeah.
horse off, that's all it is.
Wait.
And it's probably all it really needs to be, because you start putting other stuff in there, it's gonna mess up the people that use it for horse trail.
People use it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of between our city and the trailer park.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
it's kind of a gap. So it just kind of fell to the city at some point,
The town
Okay.
go to town.
Moving on to 3.23, update only on the May 4th, 2024 election.
So, as you can see, the equipment's here,
Forest Service.
I'll be here tomorrow to set it up. We'll be consumed in here with that for the next 2 weeks. We have a judge and an alternate judge that's already been here and done, kind of site visit and set things up kind of where they thought they would. The mock, they set chairs in the mock position, but,
What judges were here? What judges were here?
the two election judges, there's a regular judge and an alternate judge. So they were here, and away we go. Oh, yeah, they're doing our voting. Yep,
Yeah, they'll be here.
yep.
When is
When I
early
called
voting?
them to ask them to do this, that was one of the things that I told them, I said, you might as well do early voting too, because the residents are all saying they wanna do early voting, and,
You have to pay them by the hour.
huh?
You have to pay them by the hour.
No.
So that's privileged information.
County takes care of that, so,
But you're
Oh,
paying-
we paid them.
You're paying the county.
yeah, we're paying them, but we never really are, but, oh, yeah, but,
Plus
Are we
another,
sending
how much we
correspondence?
paying for we had to pay to the paper announcement.
yeah, the paper announcement, that was $1,200, by the
Are
way.
we sending correspondence out and putting on the website our voting dates? Are we-
Yeah, it's like-
The general election notice is on the website.
And that includes early
Yep,
voting.
that includes all that
Okay.
stuff. But if people want to go, check the polling sites, they can
On the
change
same-
the polling sites at any time, so. All right, there's your election update.
No.
So it's 23.
23 is
You're on 24 now.
So we're
Yeah, no, 21.
Page 24.
Yeah, because you've done 24. Vale and Park, our audit engagement letter.
3.24, discuss, consider act on audit engagement letter from fiscal year 24-25 with Bell and Park.
Yes.
QC.
Yeah, it's actually marked in here in our packet as 3.23, but it's actually 3.24.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay.
Is there any material changes from previous years?
The letter appears to be a little bit different as far as how it's
Content is the same.
Okay.
structured, but yeah, it looks to be about the same, so.
Does that require a motion?
Yep.
Yes, it does.
I'll make a motion that we accept the Vale and Park engagement.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Look,
All in favor?
I think we're all in favor, because I think 3 people said second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who's the official second?
I guess me?
Robert.
Robert.
That's who I've got down for
Okay.
it. Okay,
Hold on, I'm trying to get caught up.
Kind of done with this prior.
yeah.
Executive session.
Make a motion to get the name of the officer and invocation.
I made a motion that we, take a quick bio break before we, go into executive session.
No executive session.
I'll second.
He's saying no executive session, because
Huh?
we've got to reword it, we have to
No
reword it.
executive session.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Not tonight.
do you retract your motion?
76.
I guess I do.
Why do we have to,
Alright.
why are we not going
Is
into
that
executive?
what you want to talk about?
Asking,
Explain why we're not going into
you know,
executive
what,
Wrong section number,
on the code.
524.
Okay.
what is, why are we,
That wording's wrong. Is it, as a typo or something there, we gotta, is that what our question
Well,
is?
74 is a personnel exception. I think security, IT security is 076. I'm doing that from memory. Different section that allows it to be executive session.
Okay, so we need to table. How do we do that now?
2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Another meeting, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Come back later.
Put it on the next meeting agenda.
hey, Mr. Gillard, come back later.
Okay, so,
Bring this item back later, I should say.
He's a sheriff for a
Assuming
nominal
I'll
fee.
come back.
so we'll do this on the 3/13.
Yes.
All right.
And that's not gonna create any issues with our IT and,
5/13.
email
No,
sites.
I don't think, no, not,
Okay.
we can still, in fact, I would really prefer him to be here, but anytime they've got these storm
I'm
issues.
sorry, who's him?
Our IT,
Yes.
about the,
Why do we
Anytime
have to
they've
have
got-
IT here?
Because it's the policy for them.
To go through the policy.
IT policy is for security purposes and things like that, so, yeah, there's,
I don't know what's in about
so.
Mayor, that being said, I motion we adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Go.
We stand adjourned.